Georgia is known for its sweeping landscapes, historic plantations, and grand mansions, but some of these stately homes hide terrifying secrets beneath their elegant facades. Over the centuries, visitors and residents have reported strange whispers in empty halls, doors slamming on their own, shadowy figures in windows, and cold hands brushing against their shoulders. Some mansions were built on cursed land, where ancient rituals, tragic deaths, or unquiet spirits linger. Tonight, we explore 25 of Georgia's most haunted mansions, where ghosts refuse to rest and the living are warned to stay away after dark. From phantom footsteps echoing through halls to ghostly apparitions staring from balconies, these estates reveal a dark history that time cannot erase. The Waverly Mansion, located in the historic city of Savannah, Georgia, stands as a striking example of early 19th century architecture, with its grand columns, sweeping staircases, and intricate woodwork. Built on land once home to a sacred burial ground, the mansion has a reputation that extends far beyond its architectural beauty. Guests and locals alike speak in hushed tones about its haunted nature, reporting sightings of figures in 19th century clothing wander in the halls, mirrors reflecting people who are not physically present, and whispers of old family secrets echoing through the rooms. These reports have made the Waverly Mansion a focal point for those drawn to the paranormal, as well as a place steeped in history, memory, and the unexplained. Visitors often recount encounters with ghostly figures moving through the mansion. These apparitions are most frequently described as men and women dressed in period clothing, reflecting the styles of the early 1800s. Guests report seeing these figures in ballrooms, along corridors, and on staircases, often pausing as if observing the living before disappearing into walls or behind doorways. Some describe the figures gliding silently across floors, their presence accompanied by subtle cold drafts or a sudden shift in air pressure. Some describe the figures gliding silently across floors, their presence accompanied by subtle cold drafts or a sudden shift in air pressure. Witnesses frequently feel an invisible attention, as if the spirits are aware of their presence and wish to communicate or merely observe. Locals suggest that these apparitions are former residents or visitors who never truly left, bound to mansion by memories, unfinished business, or lingering attachment to the home. Mirrors in the Waverly Mansion contribute to its haunted reputation. Guests report seeing reflections of individuals who are not in the room, or glimpses of figures appearing behind them for a split second before vanishing. In some cases, mirrors have reflected rooms as they appeared in the 19th century, with furniture and occupants from a bygone era briefly materializing in the glass. The effect is unnerving, leaving witnesses questioning their own perception, and the boundaries between past and present are left questioning their own perception and the boundaries between past and present. Locals believe that the mirrors act as portals, allowing glimpses of those who once lived in a mansion and offering a rare connection to the spirits who continue to roam at halls. Whispers are another commonly reported phenomenon in the mansion. Guests frequently describe faint voices, murmuring in corners or along hallways, often carrying phrases that are difficult to understand. Some believe the voices reveal fragments of old family secrets, while others interpret them as memories of conversations from centuries past echoing through the mansione-esque structure. The whispers are sometimes audible only when the house is silent, creating an intimate and unsettling experience for those present. Visitors often feel compelled to pause, listening intently to what might be the lingering voices of the mansione-esque former occupants. The mansione-esque history adds depth to its paranormal narrative. Built during a period of expansion and wealth in Savannah, the Waverly Mansion occupied land that was once a sacred burial ground, a fact that imbues the property with cultural and spiritual significance. Tragic events, such as untimely deaths, family disputes, and the hardships of the era, have contributed to the belief that the mansion holds lingering impressions of those who lived and suffered there. This layered history creates an environment where the past feels palpable, and supernatural activity is interpreted as a reflection of the mansione-esque long and. Guests often describe a combination of sensory experiences that reinforce the mansione-esque haunted reputation. Cold spots appear suddenly in rooms that are otherwise warm. Footsteps echo in empty hallways, and doors open or close without explanation. Some report a feeling of being gently guided or observed, while others experience objects subtly moving on their own. The mansione-esque architectural features, such as high ceilings, narrow corridors, and hidden nooks, contribute to the sense of mystery, amplifying perception of shadows, reflections, and voices. The interplay between history, architecture, and the unexplained creates a powerful atmosphere that lingers long after visitors depart. Despite its reputation for hauntings, the Waverly Mansion remains a destination for those seeking to explore both history and the supernatural. Guests are drawn by the opportunity to experience the mansione-esque architecture, learn about its place in Savannah's past, and perhaps witness the mysterious phenomena for themselves. Locals encourage respect and caution, emphasizing the importance of acknowledging the mansione-esque history and the spirits said to inhabit it. Visitors who encounter figures, whispers, or ghostly reflections often leave with a heightened appreciation for the connection between past and present, understanding that the mansion preserves the memory and presence of those who live within its walls. The Waverly Mansion in Savannah is more than a historic home. It is a repository of memory, culture, and spirit. Figures in period clothing, reflections in mirrors, and whispers of family secrets serve as reminders that the mansion carries the presence of its past into the present. Visitors leave with the understanding that the mansion remembers, preserving the stories, emotions, and essence of those who once called it home. For those who walk its halls, the experience is both tangible and spectral. Ghostly figures move silently through rooms. Mirrors reveal glimpses of another era, and whispers drift along corridors. The Waverly Mansion is not threatening, but it is alive with presence, holding the memories and spirits of the past. Its beauty, history, and supernatural phenomena converge, offering an experience where the past walks beside the living, ensuring that the haunting and enduring spirit of the Waverly Mansion persists for all who enter its doors. Roanoke Manor, a grand estate nestled in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, stands as a testament to both architectural elegance and a turbulent past. Built over land where a deadly duel once claimed the life of a young man, the mansion carries a reputation that extends far beyond its stately columns, manicured gardens, and sprawling grounds. Visitors and locals alike whisper of ghostly activity that permeates the estate, recounting sightings of shadowy figures near the rose garden, chairs moving on their own, and the screams of a young man echoing through the halls on stormy nights. The history and the supernatural combine to make Roanoke Manor a place where beauty and tragedy intertwine, captivating those who walk its grounds. One of the most commonly reported phenomena at Roanoke Manor is the appearance of shadowy figures. Most often seen near the rose garden, guests describe fleeting glimpses of a young man moving silently among the flowers. His form dark and indistinct, yet unmistakably human in shape. Witnesses report a heavy sense of sorrow or agitation that seems to emanate from the figure, as if the young man's spirit is reliving the violent moment that ended his life. Locals believe this presence is tied to the duel, a soul unable to find peace, forever wandering the estate where fate claimed him. The estate's interior holds its own share of mysterious activity. Visitors frequently report chairs moving without explanation, shifting slightly as if someone unseen had adjusted them, or occasionally tipping over completely. Objects throughout the manor sometimes appear displaced, creating a subtle but persistent sense that the house is alive with unseen forces. Guests describe a palpable tension when alone in the rooms, as if the young man's spirit is not only present but actively interacting with the environment. These occurrences are most pronounced during stormy nights, when the wind rattles windows and thunder resonates through the hallways, amplifying the eerie atmosphere. Perhaps the most chilling element of Roanoke Manor-esque hauntings is the reported echo of screams. On nights when thunderstorms sweep across Atlanta, visitors often recount hearing piercing cries that seem to originate from the gardens or from the very walls of the mansion. These screams are said to match the terror and anguish of a young man struck down in a duel, frozen in time yet ever present. Witnesses describe the sound as both terrifying and sorrowful, a direct link to the tragic events that unfolded over a century ago. Locals warn that those who hear the scream should respect the estatia-s history, for they are considered the vocal imprint of a spirit bound to the grounds by the violence of his final moments. The Rose Garden itself is central to many accounts of paranormal activity. Guests frequently report sudden chills, a sense of being watched, or glimpses of movement among the roses when no one else is present. The garden, lush and meticulously maintained, seems to hold a residual energy from the duel, the earth itself remembering the life that was taken there. Some visitors claim that the young man's spirit can be seen pacing along paths, pausing near benches, or gazing toward the manor with an expression of sorrow and longing. The combination of natural beauty and lingering tragedy creates a haunting contrast, making the garden a place where the past is tangible and the present is filled with unease. Stormy weather often intensifies the manifestations within Roanoke Manor. Thunder and lightning seem to awaken the spirits, heightening both visual and auditory phenomena. Shadows appear more sharply along corridors. Objects shift with greater force, and the young manor-esque screams echo more vividly. Guests report that the combination of wind, rain, and atmospheric pressure creates an uncanny environment where the boundary between the living and the spectral feels thin. Many who have spent the night at the manor describe an overwhelming sense of presence. Despite its haunted reputation, Roanoke Manor continues to attract visitors drawn by both its history and its mysterious allure. Its grandeur, gardens, and architectural detail provide a remarkable setting, while its paranormal activity adds a layer of intrigue and fascination. Locals advise visitors to tread carefully and respectfully, acknowledging both the historic tragedy and the spirits said to remain on the grounds. Those who encounter shadowy figures, hear screams, or witness objects moving often leave with a profound sense of awe and respect, realizing that the manor preserves the memory of its past in ways both visible and unseen. Roanoke Manor in Atlanta is more than a historic estate. It is a repository of memory, sorrow, and lingering presence. The mansion itself, with its grand halls, garden, and architectural elegance, holds the story of tragedy alongside its beauty, ensuring that the events of the past remain alive in the present. Shadowy figures near the Rose Garden, objects shifting without explanation, and the echo of anguished screams remind visitors that the young man who perished here is not forgotten. For those who venture into Roanoke Manor, the experience is a blend of history, beauty, and the supernatural. Shadows glide silently through gardens and corridors. Chairs move without cause, and distant screams pierce the night, particularly during storms. Roanoke Manor is not malevolent, but it is alive with presence, preserving the memory of a young man whose life was cut short and keeping the tragic events of the past ever present. Along its halls and gardens, ensuring that the haunting and enduring spirit of Roanoke Manor remains for all who enter its grounds. Roanoke Manor remains for all who enter its grounds. Roanoke Manor remains for all time. Dunleith House, located in the heart of Augusta, Georgia, is a grand antebellum mansion with a history as complex as its architecture. Built on land marked by the painful legacy of slave uprisings, the house carries stories of both opulence and sorrow. Its tall columns, expansive porches, and intricate woodwork reflect the wealth and influence of its original owners. Yet beneath its stately exterior lies a past that continues to leave its mark. Visitors and locals alike have reported eerie experiences within the mansiona. Cold spots that appear suddenly, soft crying echoing through empty corridors, and signs that the spirits of former servants may still linger, bound to the house by memory, pain, and unfinished business. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Dunleith House is the sudden onset of cold spots. Guests often describe walking through a warm room only to be struck by an intense, localized chill. These cold pockets sometimes accompany other unexplained activity, such as shadows passing along walls, soft murmurs, or the sensation of being watched. Witnesses commonly feel that these drops in temperature are not natural, but a manifestation of the presence of spirits of former servants whose lives and labor were entwined with the house and its grounds. The cold seems to mark spaces where these spirits are most strongly felt, such as near the kitchen or along long corridors, where their footsteps once echoed. Soft crying in empty corridors is another hallmark of the Housea's haunting. Visitors report hearing plaintive, sorrowful weeping that drifts through hallways, often without a discernible source. The crying is usually quiet, sometimes barely audible, yet carries a weight of emotion that resonates with those who hear it. Many describe the sound as unmistakably human, a direct connection to the lives of the people who once worked and suffered within Dunleith House. The cries often seem to arise during the quietest hours, late at night or in the early morning, when the mansion's opulent rooms are still and the outside world is hushed. Guests who experience these sounds often pause in reverence, sensing that they are witnessing echoes of past pain and hardship. Candles flickering inexplicably add a visual layer to the mansion's ghostly activity. Visitors have reported lights wavering on mantels, sconces dim and brighten without wind, candles shifting slightly on their holders as if guided by invisible hands. These occurrences are most common in rooms associated with domestic labor or living spaces where servants once spent significant time. The flickering light often coincides with other phenomena, such as sudden cold, shadowy movements, or distant whispers, creating an atmosphere that is both unsettling and mesmerizing. Locals suggest that the candles reflect the lingering presence of those who cared for the house, their spirits still moving through the spaces they once inhabited. The history of Dunleith House is essential to understanding its haunted reputation. The land on which it stands was a site of conflict and unrest during the era of slavery, including uprisings and struggles for freedom. The people who lived and labored there experienced profound hardship, and some never saw the outside of the house again. Over time, these tragedies have been woven into the fabric of the mansion, creating an environment where memory and presence are palpable. Many believe that the spirits of former servants remain bound to Dunleith House, their echoes manifesting in temperature changes, sounds, and subtle movements, ensuring that their stories are neither forgotten nor ignored. Visitors often describe a combination of sensory experiences that reinforce the Housea's reputation. Shadows flit along walls, footsteps echo in empty corridors, and doors move slightly as if nudged by invisible hands. Some report feeling a gentle, almost sorrowful presence nearby, a sensation being accompanied by someone unseen yet attentive. Others notice a fleeting movement in a peripheral glance, a whisper that seemed to come from nowhere, or an inexplicable chill that follows them from room to room. The mansion's architecture, high ceilings, long corridors, and hidden nooks amplifies these sensations, making ordinary phenomena appear uncanny and intensifying perception of supernatural activity. Despite its haunting, Dunleith House continues to attract visitors who are drawn by both its historical significance and its paranormal allure. Guests are encouraged to explore with respect and mindfulness, acknowledging the lives and experiences of those who lived and worked there. Those who encounter cold spots, soft crying, or flickering candles often leave with a deep sense of connection, recognizing that the mansion preserves not only its physical beauty, but also the presence of those who shaped its history. Dunleith House in Augusta is more than an architectural treasure. It is a living repository of memory and spirit. Cold spots, sorrowful cries, and flickering candles serve as reminders that the past remains present, keeping alive the stories of former servants who endured hardship and tragedy. Visitors depart with the understanding that the mansion remembers, preserving the essence of those who lived, labored, and suffered within its walls, keeping alive the stories of former servants who endured hardship and tragedy. Visitors depart with the understanding that the mansion remembers. It is a living repository of memory and spirit. Cold spots, sorrowful cries, and flickering candles serve as reminders that the past remains present, keeping alive the stories of former servants who endured hardship and tragedy. Visitors depart with the understanding that the mansion remembers, preserving the essence of those who lived, labored, and suffered within its walls, keeping alive the stories of former servants who endured hardship and tragedy. Visitors depart with the understanding that the mansion remembers. For those who enter Dunleith House, the experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows move silently through corridors. Whispers echo through empty rooms. And candles flicker as if acknowledging unseen presences. The house is not malevolent, but it is alive with memory, preserving the spirits and stories of its past. In every room, hallway, and shadow corner, the legacy of Dunleith House endures. The haunting and enduring spirit of those who once called a home remains for all who enter. The Smeady's Factor Estate, located in Macon, Georgia, stands as a striking relic of antebellum grandeur. Its stately columns, sweeping staircases, and intricate woodwork reflecting an era of wealth and elegance. Yet beneath its architectural beauty lies a history steeped in mystery and unease. The land on which the mansion was built is rumored to have been cursed by a Native American shaman, a tale passed down through generations that hints at lingering spiritual unrest. Visitors to the estate have reported unexplained phenomena that defy simple explanation. Footsteps echoing along empty hallways, doors opening and closing without cause, and the appearance of a shadowy female figure, who vanishes the moment one attempts to approach her. These experiences have cemented the Smeady's Factor Estatia-S reputation as one of Macona's most haunted historic homes, a place where the past and the supernatural coexist. Footsteps in hallways are among the most commonly reported phenomena at the estate. Guests recount hearing soft, deliberate steps echoing across hardwood floors, often when no one else is present. The sound seems to move from room to room, following visitors as they explore, sometimes stopping abruptly, only to resume moments later. Witnesses describe a peculiar sense of timing, as though the footsteps are aware of their presence, moving with intention and purpose. Locals suggest these steps belong to the spirits of those who lived and worked in the mansion over the centuries, their energy lingering in the very boards and corridors of the estate. The footsteps often appear most clearly in the late evening or during periods of quiet, when the mansion's natural acoustics carry every sound with startling clarity. Doors opening and closing without explanation contribute to the eerie atmosphere of the Smeady's Factor estate. Visitors report entering rooms to find doors ajar or shut tightly, despite having left them in the opposite position. Sometimes doors move slowly, as if pushed by an invisible hand. Other times, they swing violently, startling those nearby. These occurrences are frequently accompanied by sudden chills or a sensation of presence, reinforcing the sense that the mansion itself is not entirely empty. The unexplained movement of doors creates a tension that pervades every corner of the house, a subtle yet constant reminder that unseen forces may still inhabit its spaces. Perhaps the most striking and unsettling manifestation at the estate is the shadowy figure of a woman. Guests often see her at the periphery of their vision, standing near doorways, at the top of staircases, or along dimly lit hallways. She is described as dark and indistinct, with features obscured and dressed in clothing suggestive of a bygone era. When approached, the figure invariably vanishes, leaving behind only a lingering sense of presence and, at times, an inexplicable chill in the air. Witnesses report a mixture of fear and fascination, sensing both sorrow and purpose in the apparition. Locals speculate that she may be a spirit tied to the Mansiona's history, perhaps a resident, servant, or visitor from the past whose story was never fully resolved, bound to the estate by unfinished business or lingering attachment. The Estatia-S history provides context for its haunted reputation. Built on land believed to have been cursed by a Native American shaman, the mansion occupies a space already imbued with spiritual significance. Over the decades, the Smeady's Factor estate has witnessed generations of families, social gatherings, and domestic labor, each leaving behind traces of life, emotion, and memory. Tragic events, personal conflicts, and unexplained occurrences throughout its history have reinforced the perception that the mansion holds more than mere architectural and historical value. It preserves the energy of the past, manifesting as paranormal phenomena for those who visit. Visitors often describe a combination of sensory experiences that heighten the estatea's mysterious reputation. The creak of floorboards under unseen footsteps, the gentle swaying or sudden slamming of doors, and glimpses of shadowy figures all converge to create an immersive experience. Some report a sudden drop in temperature, a subtle pressure on the shoulders, or the feeling of being observed, even in empty rooms. The mansiona's tall ceilings, long corridors, and hidden alcoves amplify these phenomena, turning ordinary occurrences into experiences charged with suspense and unease. Guests often leave with a sense that the house is aware of their presence, responding to their movement with subtle, inexplicable actions. Despite its haunted reputation, the Smedes Factor Estate remains a destination for history enthusiasts and those intrigued by the supernatural. Visitors are encouraged to explore respectfully, acknowledging both the mansiona's architectural significance and its spectral occupants. Those who witness footsteps, doors moving, or the shadowy figure often leave with a profound sense of connection to the past, realizing that the estate preserves the stories, emotions, and memories of those who once inhabited it. The Smedes Factor Estate in Macon is more than a historic home. It is a repository of memory and lingering presence. Footsteps in hallways, moving doors, and shadowy apparitions serve as reminders that the past remains alive, quietly observing and interacting with the present. Visitors depart with the understanding that the mansion remembers, keeping alive the energy and stories of its former inhabitants. For those who venture inside, the experience is a journey into history and the supernatural. Footsteps echo along empty corridors, doors move without cause, and shadowy figures appear and vanish, leaving no doubt that the estate is alive with presence. The Smedes Factor Estate is not malevolent, but is infused with memory and spirit, preserving the past in ways both visible and unseen. Along its halls, rooms, and gardens, the stories of those who came before continue to resonate, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of the mansion remains for all who enter. Oak Ridge Plantation, located in Savannah County, Georgia, stands as a striking relic of the antebellum South. Its stately columns, wide porches, and sprawling grounds reflect the wealth and social prominence of its original owners. Yet beneath the elegance lies a history darkened by mystery and tragedy. The plantation has long been associated with unexplained disappearances, creating a reputation that draws both historians and those intrigued by the paranormal. Visitors to Oak Ridge report a range of eerie phenomena, including apparitions appearing in windows, chairs rocking as if occupied by invisible presences, and the haunting echoes of laughter and crying that reverberate through the mansion at night. These accounts have cemented Oak Ridge Plantation's status as one of Savannah County's most enigmatic and haunted estates. Apparitions in the windows are among the most frequently reported phenomena at Oak Ridge. Guests often describe seeing shadowy figures standing or moving behind glass panes, particularly during the late evening or in the dim light of dawn. These figures are usually indistinct but undeniably human in shape, appearing to watch the world outside or observing the activity within the plantation grounds. Many witnesses note that the apparitions vanish when they approach, leaving only the empty window and a lingering sense of being observed. Locals suggest that these figures are the spirits of former residents or workers, trapped between worlds by untimely deaths or unresolved events. Their presence a silent reminder of the plantation's tumultuous past. Chairs moving on their own are another hallmark of Oak Ridge's haunted reputation. Visitors frequently report rocking chairs gently swaying without a breeze, dining chairs sliding slightly from their original positions, or seats tipping as if someone invisible had taken place. This activity is often accompanied by subtle sounds, such as the scraping of wood against floorboards, or the soft creak of chair legs, enhancing the sensation of presence. Witnesses describe a combination of fascination and unease, feeling as though the spirits are not malevolent but are aware of the living, interacting with them in ways that are both subtle and undeniable. Many guests report the phenomenon in rooms where families once gathered, suggesting that the energy of past occupants remains embedded in the spaces they once inhabited. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of Oak Ridge Plantation as hauntings is the simultaneous presence of laughter and crying echoing through the halls at night. Visitors recount hearing the sounds of children laughing in the distance, only to be followed by soft sobs or anguished cries from rooms that appear empty. Guests often describe pausing to listen, sensing the depth of emotion and the presence of spirits whose lives and experiences are reflected in these echoes. These auditory phenomena create a hauntingly emotional atmosphere, blending joy and sorrow in a manner that evokes the Plantation-esque complex history. The laughter and crying seem to serve as reminders of the lives lived, hardships endured, and the unresolved tensions that linger in the mansion long after its original occupants have passed. The Plantation-esque long history of mysterious disappearances contributes to its reputation for paranormal activity. Stories passed down through generations recount individuals vanishing without explanation, leaving behind questions and an air of unease that persists to this day. Some believe that these vanishings have left residual energy within the mansion, manifesting as apparitions, moving objects, and auditory phenomena. Others suggest that the plantation occupies a space where the boundary between the living and the spiritual is thin, allowing echoes of past events to replay in the present. Whatever the explanation, visitors consistently report experiences that defy ordinary understanding, making Oak Ridge a location where history and the supernatural intertwine. Guests often describe a combination of sensory experiences that heighten the haunting. Cold spots appear suddenly, footsteps echo along empty corridors, and doors creak open or close without cause. Shadows seem to shift along walls, and the faint sensation of being watched is pervasive throughout the mansion. Many visitors note that these phenomena intensify during quiet moments, particularly at night when the estate is still, amplifying the sense of connection to the spirits who are said to remain. The architecture itself, with its long hallways, high ceilings, and secluded rooms, provides a perfect stage for these experiences, magnifying every sound, shadow, and movement into something uncanny. Despite its eerie reputation, Oak Ridge Plantation remains a destination for those drawn by history and the supernatural. Visitors are encouraged to explore with respect, recognizing the stories, lives, and memories that the house preserves. Those who encounter apparitions, moving chairs, or echoes of laughter and crying often leave a profound sense of connection to the past, understanding that the plantation holds more than just physical artifacts. It carries the energy, emotions, and presence of those who once lived, worked, and disappeared within its grounds. Oak Ridge Plantation in Savannah County is more than an architectural treasure. It is a repository of memory, presence, and mystery. Apparitions in windows, rocking chairs moving on their own, and echoes of laughter and crying serve as reminders that the past continues to exist alongside the present. Visitors depart with the understanding that the mansion remembers, preserving the lives, experiences, and unresolved energies of those who inhabited it. For those who venture into Oak Ridge Plantation, the experience is a blend of history and the supernatural. The experience is a blend of history and the supernatural. Shadows move silently behind windows, chairs rock without occupants, and distant voices echo through hallways, carrying the laughter and tears of the past. The mansion is not malevolent, but it is alive with presence, preserving the stories and memories of those who walked its floors long ago. Along its corridors, rooms, and gardens, the past continues to interact with the present, ensuring that the haunting and enduring spirit of Oak Ridge Plantation remains for all who enter. Crescent Hall, located in Atlanta, Georgia, stands as a stately mansion with grand columns, expansive porches, and meticulously landscaped grounds. Yet beneath its elegance lies a history steeped in conflict and tragedy. Built atop a former battlefield, Crescent Hall is said to carry the memories of soldiers who once fought and fell on the very land it occupies. Visitors and locals alike report eerie phenomena that defy explanation. Phantom soldiers marching across the lawn, the crack and echo of musket fire, and shadowy figures that appear only on fog-laden nights. The Mansion-esque reputation as a haunted estate draws both history enthusiasts and paranormal seekers, all drawn by the interplay of past and present, memory, and mystery. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Crescent Hall is the sighting of phantom soldiers moving across the lawn. Guests often describe figures dressed in period military uniforms, marching in formation or patrolling the grounds as if reliving the events of a bygone battle. The apparitions are typically seen in the early morning mist or during foggy evenings, their movements precise and purposeful, yet they vanish when approached. Witnesses report a combination of awe and unease, sensing the intensity and discipline of these spectral troops, as well as the lingering weight of the battlefield-esque history. Locals speculate that these apparitions are the spirits of soldiers who never found peace. Their presence a direct connection to the violence and sacrifice that occurred on the site. The sounds of musket fire and clashing weapons are another hallmark of Crescent Hall-esque haunting. Guests have recounted hearing distant gunshots, the crack of rifles, and the clash of swords echoing across the grounds, even when no one else is present. The sounds are most pronounced during foggy nights, when visibility is low and the air carries sound with an uncanny clarity. Some visitors describe the auditory experience as both thrilling and terrifying, evoking the intensity of the battle that once raged on the land. The echoes of combat are often accompanied by the subtle rustling of leaves, the clatter of unseen footsteps, and the sensation that the past is unfolding just beyond perception, allowing witnesses to experience a fleeting connection to history. Shadowy figures are another commonly reported feature of Crescent Hall-esque paranormal activity. These indistinct shapes are typically humanoid, seen moving along the edges of property, among trees, or across open lawns. They are most often visible during foggy conditions, emerging from the mist for a brief moment before dissolving into obscurity. Guests frequently report the feeling of being watched, even when the figures are distant, as if unseen eyes are tracking their every movement. Many interpret these manifestations as the residual energy of soldiers or individuals caught in the turmoil of battle, their forms lingering in the landscape as reminders of the lives lost. The history of Crescent Hall enhances its reputation for supernatural occurrences. Built on a site that witnessed intense conflict, the mansion occupies land imbued with both human and historical significance. Over time, the area has transformed from battlefield to estate, but the energy of past events is believed to remain. Stories passed down through generations recount soldiers vanishing in battle, cries echoing across the fields, and inexplicable shadows moving in the mist. These accounts, coupled with the mansion's imposing architecture and well-maintained grounds, create an environment where the past feels palpably present, and the living can sense the lingering presence of those who once walked the land. Guests often describe a combination of sensory experiences that reinforce Crescent Hall's haunted reputation. The crack of phantom musket fire echoes through the halls. The sight of marching soldiers appears, their ghostly forms vanishing into the darkness. Movement of shadowy figures is detected, their presence felt but unseen. Some guests report sudden drops in temperature, a feeling of being watched. The feeling of an inexplicable heaviness in the air weighs heavily on the guests. The mansion's architecture amplifies these experiences, allowing both visual and auditory phenomena to resonate with greater intensity. Visitors leave with a strong sense that history is not merely remembered, but is actively present, manifesting through subtle and sometimes dramatic means. Despite its haunting, Crescent Hall remains a destination for those fascinated by history, architecture, and the supernatural. Guests are encouraged to explore respectfully, recognizing both the significance of sight and the spirits said to inhabit it. Those who witness phantom soldiers, hear musket fire, or see shadowy figures often depart with a deep sense of connection to the past. Understanding that this state is more than a homia, it is a living memorial to the lives and struggles of those who fought and perished on its grounds. Crescent Hall in Atlanta is not merely a mansion. It is a repository of memory, energy, and lingering presence. Phantom soldiers, the sounds of battle, and shadowy figures serve as reminders that the past continues to coexist alongside the present. Visitors leave with the realization that the estate preserves more than architecturia. It safeguards the echoes of conflict, courage, and tragedy that have shaped its history. For those who venture onto the grounds, the experience is a blend of history and the supernatural. Soldiers march silently through fog, musket fire echoes in the distance, and shadows move among trees and lawns, creating a powerful sense of presence. Along its halls, grounds, and misty nights, history walks quietly beside the living, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of Crescent Hall remains for all who explore its storied landscape. Magnolia Hall, located in Macon, Georgia, is an antebellum mansion, known for its stately architecture, grand columns, and sweeping verandas. Yet beneath the elegance of its exterior lies a history tinged with mystery and the supernatural. The land on which Magnolia Hall was constructed is rumored to have been cursed by a voodoo practitioner, a tale whispered among locals for generations. Visitors to the mansion have reported unsettling phenomena: a woman in black wandering the halls, phantom lights glowing in windows, and cold hands brushing past them without warning. These accounts have cemented Magnolia Hall as one of Macona's most haunted estates, drawing the curious, the brave, and those intrigued by the paranormal. The most frequently reported apparition at Magnolia Hall is that of a woman in black. Witnesses describe her as tall and shadowy, dressed in flowing dark clothing that obscures her features. Yet her presence exudes an undeniable sense of sorrow and purpose. She is most often seen gliding silently along hallways, pausing in doorways, or standing at the top of the grand staircase. Guests who attempt to approach her report that she vanishes before contact, leaving only a lingering chill and sensation of having been closely observed. Locals speculate that she may be a spirit tied to the Mansiona's dark history, perhaps a former resident or someone affected by the curse that is said to have been placed on the land. Her presence is a reminder that the past is never truly gone, and that some spirits remain bound to the places they once knew. Phantom lights appearing in the windows are another hallmark of Magnolia Hall's hauntings. Visitors report seeing small, flickering orbs of light in rooms that should be empty, moving with no apparent source. These lights are often observed at dusk or during the night, glowing faintly before disappearing without explanation. Guests describe an almost hypnotic quality to the lights, drawing attention while simultaneously provoking unease. Many interpret them as manifestations of spiritual energy, the visual imprint of the curse, or the residual activity of those who once inhabited the house. The lights sometimes appear in patterns that suggest movement through the rooms, as if the spirits are still performing tasks or wandering in familiar spaces. Cold hands brushing past visitors create a visceral and unnerving experience at Magnolia Hall. Guests frequently report feeling icy touches on their shoulders, arms, or backs, often when no one else is near. The sensation is fleeting but unmistakable, leaving a sudden shiver in its wake. Some describe the feeling as gentle, almost beckoning, while others interpret it as a warning, a reminder of the house's lingering spiritual presence. Others interpret it as a warning, a reminder of the house's lingering spiritual presence. These tactile encounters often coincide with other manifestations, such as flickering lights or glimpses of the woman in black, creating an immersive experience that engages sight, sound, and touch. Visitors consistently report a heightened awareness in these moments, sensing that they are not alone and that the mansion itself holds memory and intent. The history of Magnolia Hall contributes to its haunted reputation. Built on land rumored to be cursed, the estate has been witness to generations of residents, social gatherings, and personal tragedies. Stories of unexplained illness, misfortune, and strange occurrences have persisted for decades, reinforcing the belief that the property is a nexus for spiritual activity. Local lore suggests that the voodoo practitioner's curse imbued the land with an unsettled energy, leaving a residue that manifests as apparitions, phantom lights, and tactile encounters. Whether these phenomena are echoes of past lives, residual spiritual energy, or the direct influence of a curse, they are a constant reminder that the Mansiona's history cannot be separated from its present. Visitors to Magnolia Hall often describe a combination of experiences that heighten the sense of unease. Shadows appear at the edge of vision, doors move without cause, and the air grows suddenly cold in certain rooms. The mansion's high ceilings, long hallways, and hidden alcoves amplify these sensations, turning ordinary movements and sounds into something uncanny. Guests report a sensation of being watched or followed, even when no figure is visible, and many describe a palpable heaviness in the atmosphere, as the energy of past events fills every corner. These cumulative experiences create an environment where history and the supernatural intersect, providing both intrigue and apprehension for those who enter. Despite its chilling reputation, Magnolia Hall continues to attract visitors drawn by history, architecture, and the paranormal. Guests are encouraged to explore with respect, acknowledging the lives and experiences that shape the estate. Those who encounter the woman in black, phantom lights, or cold touches often leave a profound sense of connection to the mansiona's past. Understanding that the house preserves more than physical structure, it safeguards memory, energy, and spirit. Magnolia Hall in Macon is more than a historic mansion. It is a living repository of past events and lingering presences. Apparitions, phantom lights, and tactile encounters serve as reminders that the past persists, quietly observing and interacting with the present. Visitors depart with the understanding that the estate remembers, keeping alive the stories, energies, and mysteries of those who came before. Visitors depart with the understanding that the estate remembers, keeping alive the stories, energies, and mysteries of those who came before. For those who enter Magnolia Hall, the experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows move silently through hallways, lights flicker in empty rooms, and cold hands brush unexpectedly, leaving no doubt that the mansion is alive with presence. Magnolia Hall is not malevolent, but it is infused with memory, energy, and history, allowing the past to coexist with the present. In its halls, rooms, and corridors, the stories of the past endure, ensuring that the haunting and enduring spirit of Magnolia Hall remains for all who walk its story floors. Elmwood Estate, nestled in Savannah, Georgia, stands as a striking example of antebellum architecture, with its grand columns, sweeping staircases, and meticulously landscaped gardens. Yet beneath the beauty of its exterior lies a history imbued with mystery and the supernatural. The estate sits atop ancient burial grounds, a fact that locals say has contributed to the unusual and often unsettling activity reported by visitors over the years. Guests have described furniture moving inexplicably, cold draft appearing in sealed rooms, and apparitions of former owners dressed in period clothing. These occurrences have cemented Elmwood Estate's reputation as one of Savannah's most haunted properties, attracting those drawn to both history and the paranormal. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Elmwood Estate is the movement of furniture without explanation. Guests recount seeing chairs slide across polished floors, tables shift slightly from their original positions, or decorative items topple from mantels, all without any discernible cause. Witnesses often describe a subtle energy accompanying these movements, a sense that something unseen is interacting with the environment. In many cases, these occurrences are reported in rooms historically associated with social gatherings or family activities, leading some to believe that the spirits of former residents continue to occupy the spaces they once frequented. The inexplicable movement of furniture adds an immediate and tangible element to the haunting, making visitors acutely aware that the house is far from empty. Cold draft and sealed rooms are another hallmark of Elmwood Estate's spectral activity. Guests frequently report sudden drops in temperature in spaces with no windows or doors open, creating an eerie and chilling sensation. These cold pockets often coincide with other paranormal phenomena, such as flickering lights or the faint sound of footsteps on empty floors. Visitors describe a sudden awareness of presence, as if an unseen force is near, moving through the room or observing from the shadows. The combination of tactile and visual sensations contributes, leaving guests with the undeniable impression that the estate is alive with lingering energy from the past. Perhaps the most striking element of Elmwood Estate's hauntings is the appearance of apparitions dressed in period clothing. Visitors have reported seeing figures of former owners wander in the halls, descending staircases, or standing near windows, seemingly absorbed in tasks from a bygone era. These apparitions are often described as highly detailed, with clothing and posture accurately reflecting the fashion and demeanor of the time. Witnesses note that the figures typically vanish when approached, leaving behind a lingering sense of presence and, occasionally, a sudden chill in the air. Many interpret these visions as echoes of past lives, preserved in the energy of the estate. As echoes of past lives, preserved in the energy of the estate, preserved in the energy of the estate, and bound to the land, by the ancient burial grounds beneath. Beneath, the estate's location atop ancient burial grounds adds a deeper layer of intrigue to its paranormal reputation. The presence of sacred or consecrated land is often cited by both historians and locals as a source of the lingering energy that manifests in unusual phenomena. Some believe that the spirits of those buried long ago have never fully departed, and that their presence intertwines with the memories of the estate's more recent inhabitants. The blending of these energies is thought to create an environment where time and life are not strictly linear, allowing past and present to coexist and making Elmwood Estate a place where history is both tangible and spectral. Visitors often describe a combination of sensory experiences that intensify the sense of haunting. Shadows are seen at the edges of vision. Footsteps echo in empty rooms, and soft whispers can be heard when the estate is otherwise silent. Some guests report sudden feelings of being observed, even in isolated areas, and others experience a sensation of pressure or movement against their body, as if unseen hands are brushing past. The mansion's high ceilings, long hallways, and intricate architecture amplify these experiences, turning ordinary environmental sounds and movements into something uncanny. The layering of sight, sound, and touch creates a fully immersive encounter, leaving visitors with profound awareness of the Mansiona's spectral presence. Despite the unsettling experiences reported, Elmwood Estate continues to attract visitors fascinated by both its historical significance and its paranormal activity. Guests are encouraged to explore respectfully, acknowledging the lives, stories, and energies preserved within its walls. Those who encounter moving furniture, cold drafts, or apparitions often leave with a heightened sense of connection to the estate, recognizing that it is more than a historical bodinga. It is a repository of memory and presence, where the lives of those who came before continue to resonate. Elmwood Estate in Savannah is not merely a mansion. It is a living testament to the past. Furniture moving on its own, cold pockets in sealed rooms, and ghostly figures in period clothing all serve as reminders that the history of the estate is not confined to books or photographs. Visitors leave with the understanding that the mansion preserves memory, emotion, and energy, allowing the past to interact with the present in ways both subtle and profound. For those who enter Elmwood Estate, the experience is both haunting and enlightening. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. Furniture moves without explanation. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. Furniture moves without explanation, and cold drafts sweep through rooms. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. Furniture moves without explanation, and cold drafts sweep through rooms as apparitions of former owners appear and vanish. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. Furniture moves without explanation, and cold drafts sweep through rooms as apparitions of former owners appear and vanish. The estate is not malevolent. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. Furniture moves without explanation, and cold drafts sweep through rooms as apparitions of former owners appear and vanish. The estate is not malevolent, but it is alive with memory, energy, and history. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. Furniture moves without explanation, and cold drafts sweep through rooms as apparitions of former owners appear and vanish. The estate is not malevolent, but it is alive with memory, energy, and history. Its halls, rooms, and gardens are infused with the echoes of the past. The experience is both haunting and enlightening. Shadows drift along hallways. Furniture moves without explanation, and cold drafts sweep through rooms as apparitions of former owners appear and vanish. The estate is not malevolent, but it is alive with memory, energy, and history. Its halls, rooms, and gardens are infused with the echoes of the past, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of Elmwood Estate remains for all who walk its storied floors. Hawthorne Hall, located in Augusta, Georgia, is a grand mansion with an imposing facade, tall windows, and sweeping staircases that reflect the wealth and elegance of the era in which it was built. Beneath this stately exterior, however, lies a history steeped in tragedy. The estate was constructed on land where multiple devastating fires claimed the lives of several families over the years. Locals and visitors alike have long reported a series of chilling phenomena, including screams echoing through walls, shadowy figures appearing in mirrors, and the unsettling sensation of invisible hands resting on their shoulders. These experiences have established Hawthorne Hall as one of Augusta's most haunted locations, attracting those interested in both history and the paranormal. One of the most frequently reported occurrences at Hawthorne Hall is the sound of screams echoing through the mansion's walls. Guests recount hearing anguished cries in empty hallways, particularly at night or during periods of stillness. These screams are often sudden and intense, creating a visceral sense of fear and dread. Many describe the voices as human yet distant, as if calling from another time or plane of existence. Witnesses frequently report that the cries seem to come from the very walls themselves, penetrating through closed doors and solid structures, suggesting that the tragedies of the past are somehow preserved within the fabric of the house. These auditory experiences are particularly powerful for visitors, evoking both empathy and unease, as the estate seems to bear witness to the pain of its history. Shadowy figures appearing in mirrors are another hallmark of Hawthorne Hall's hauntings. Guests report catching glimpses of indistinct shapes reflected in mirrors throughout the mansion, often noticing figures out of the corner of their eye only to have them vanish when they turn to look directly. Some witnesses describe seeing apparitions resembling the clothing and posture of 19th century residents, while others see entirely dark silhouettes that move independently of the observer. These reflections are reported not just in bedroom mirrors, but in hallway mirrors and ornate glass panels, creating a pervasive sense of being watched from multiple angles. The combination of reflection and movement heightens a feeling of a living presence, reinforcing the mansion's reputation for spectral activity. Many visitors also recount the unnerving sensation of invisible hands brushing against their shoulders or arms. These tactile encounters are often sudden and fleeting, yet leave a lasting impression. Guests describe feeling a light but unmistakable pressure, as if an unseen entity is making contact. In some instances, this sensation is accompanied by a cold draft, a whisper, or the faint rustling of clothing, amplifying the sense of presence. The hands are interpreted as remnants of the lives lost in the fires or the residual energy of spirits unable to find peace, a subtle but deeply personal form of interaction between the living and the spectral. The history of Hawthorne Hall's foundations adds context to its paranormal reputation. The land on which the mansion was built has seen multiple tragedies, with fires devastating homes and claiming the lives of families over decades. Stories of these fires have persisted through local lore, each recounting loss, grief, and unexplained circumstances surrounding the disasters. Historians suggest that the combination of traumatic death and the mansion's grand architecture may create an environment in which residual energy lingers, manifesting as auditory, visual, and tactile phenomena. The house itself, with its tall ceilings, long hallways, and hidden alcoves, provides a perfect environment for such activity, amplifying the sense that the past is still very much present. Visitors often describe a combination of sensory experiences that make Hawthorne Hall particularly memorable. The echo of screams, reflections of shadowy figures, and sudden touches converge to create an immersive and unsettling encounter. Some report sudden drops in temperature in otherwise sealed rooms, while others sense a weight or pressure in the air, intensifying perception of unseen presences. The mansion's architecture amplifies these effects, making ordinary sounds and movements feel charged with intention. Guests frequently describe leaving the house with a heightened awareness of history, and an enduring sense that the mansion retains the echoes of the lives once lived within its walls. Despite the unsettling occurrences, Hawthorne Hall continues to attract visitors interested in its history and paranormal activity. Guests are encouraged to approach the estate with respect, recognizing both the historical tragedies and a lingering spiritual presence. Those who experience the screams, mirror apparitions, or invisible touches often leave with a profound sense of connection to the past, understanding that the mansion preserves not just physical structures, but memory, energy, and emotion. Hawthorne Hall in Augusta is more than a historic mansion. It is a repository of memory and spirit. Screams echoing through walls, shadowy figures in mirrors, and invisible hands serve as reminders that the past is never truly gone. Visitors depart with the understanding that the estate preserves more than architecture. It safeguards the energy and experiences of those who lived and died on the land. For those who explore Hawthorne Hall, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Shadows drift silently through mirrors. Screams pierce empty corridors. And unseen hands brush past the living. The mansion is not malevolent, but it is alive with memory, energy, and history. Its halls, rooms, and hidden corners are infused with the echoes of past tragedies, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of Hawthorne Hall remains for all who enter. Beaumont Manor, located in Atlanta, Georgia, is a grand estate renowned for its elegant architecture, sprawling gardens, and ornate interiors. Its stately presence masks a history tinged with mystery and unexplained events. Visitors and locals alike have reported a variety of paranormal phenomena, including phantom footsteps echoing through the gardens, strange rustling in empty rooms, and sudden cold spots in hallways. The manor is said to be haunted by the spirit of a former gardener who vanished under mysterious circumstances decades ago. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Beaumont Manor is the sound of phantom footsteps in the gardens. Guests walking along the carefully maintained paths often hear the crunch of gravel or the soft padding of boots behind them, only to turn and find the area deserted. The footsteps are described as deliberate and measured, as if the gardener continues his rounds, tending to plants long after his disappearance. Some visitors report that the footsteps seem to follow them, stopping abruptly when they pause, or circling through areas where no one could be present. These experiences evoke a sense of both curiosity and unease, leaving witnesses with the impression that the spirit of the missing gardener remains tied to the landscape he once cared for. Strange rustling in empty rooms is another hallmark of Beaumont Manor-esque hauntings. Guests often recount hearing the swish of fabric, the subtle movement of furniture, or the soft shifting of objects in spaces that appear completely unoccupied. The sounds are most pronounced in areas historically associated with domestic activity, such as drawing rooms or kitchens, but they can occur anywhere within the mansion. Witnesses describe an almost tactile quality to these noises, as if unseen hands are interacting with the environment. Witnesses describe an almost tactile quality to these noises, as if unseen hands are interacting with the environment. Witnesses describe an almost tactile quality to these noises, as if unseen hands are interacting with the environment. Witnesses describe an almost tactile quality to these noises, as if unseen hands are interacting with the environment, but they can occur anywhere within the mansion. Witnesses describe an almost tactile quality to these noises, as if unseen hands are interacting with the environment. Witnesses describe an almost tactile quality to these noises, as if unseen hands are interacting with the environment. The rustling is sometimes accompanied by a faint, unidentifiable scent, like earth or flowers in the garden, reinforcing the connection between the mansiona's interior and its outdoor spaces. Cold spots in hallways create another chilling aspect of Beaumont Manor-esque paranormal activity. Visitors frequently experience sudden drops in temperature, particularly in long corridors or near staircases, even when the weather outside is warm. The cold is often accompanied by a feeling of being watched or the subtle brush of unseen presence. Guests describe a sudden awareness, as if the air itself is charged with energy, and many report that these cold spots seem to follow them from room to room. This physical sensation provides a direct, unmistakable link to the supernatural, making the haunting of Beaumont Manor not just a matter of sight or sound, but of touch and perception. The history of Beaumont Manor adds depth to its spectral reputation. Built as an opulent residence during a time of social prominence, the estate employed numerous staff members, including the gardener who is now said to haunt its grounds. His mysterious disappearance has become central to the Menorah-esque lore, and locals speculate that unresolved circumstances tethered his spirit to the estate. Stories recount that the gardener vanished without explanation one evening, leaving behind personal tools and belongings, yet no trace of his fate. Over time, residents and visitors began noticing unusual occurrences, all seemingly linked to the area he frequented. The combination of a tragic disappearance and a well-preserved estate provides fertile ground for supernatural interpretations that combine auditory, visual, and tactile phenomena. With rustling inside the mansion, or a cold spot in a hallway may appear as a shadow moves along the wall, as if the past continues to interact with the present. And secluded alcovisa amplifies these experiences, turning ordinary noises and movements into something uncanny and compelling. Many guests leave the manor with an enhanced appreciation for its history, combined with lingering awareness that unseen presences remain active within its walls. Despite its eerie reputation, Beaumont Manor continues to attract visitors fascinated by its architecture, history, and paranormal activity. Guests are encouraged to explore with respect, recognizing both the life and mystery embedded in the estate. Those who encounter phantom footsteps, strange rustling, or sudden cold spots often leave with a sense of connection to past. Understand that the manor preserves more than physical structure, Risa. It safeguards memory, energy, and spirit. Beaumont Manor in Atlanta is more than a historic residence. It is a living repository of memory and lingering presence. Phantom footsteps in the gardens, rustling in empty rooms, and cold hallways serve as reminders that the estate remembers, preserving both the life and mystery of those who once walked its grounds. Visitors depart with the understanding that the mansion maintains an ongoing dialogue between past and present, allowing the spirit of the missing gardener, and perhaps others, to remain active and perceptible. For those who enter Beaumont Manor, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Footsteps echo across the gardens. Rooms seem alive with movement, and sudden cold brushes against the skin, leaving no doubt that unseen presences linger. The manor is not malevolent, but it is alive with history, memory, and energy. Its halls, corridors, and gardens are infused with the echoes of the past, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of Beaumont Manor remains for all who walk its storied grounds. White Oak Estate, located in Savannah County, Georgia, is an imposing mansion with sprawling grounds, grand porches, and meticulously maintained gardens. Yet beneath its elegant exterior lies a history steeped in mystery and supernatural lore. The estate was built atop a forgotten Native American burial site, a detail that has fueled centuries of whispered stories and unexplained phenomena. Visitors to White Oak Estate often report ghostly children playing at night, mysterious footprints appearing in the dust, and shadows moving independently of any light source. These experiences have cemented the estate's reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the region, drawing those fascinated by the intersection of history, legend, and the paranormal. Perhaps the most frequently reported phenomenon at White Oak Estate is the presence of ghostly children. Guests describe hearing the faint sounds of laughter, playful chatter, and running footsteps echoing through empty halls and across the Estatia-esque grounds. Some have reported seeing small, shadowy figures darting between trees in the gardens or moving silently along hallways and staircases. These apparitions often appear during the late evening or in the early hours of the morning, disappearing when approached, leaving only the echo of laughter and the sensation of being watched. Witnesses frequently describe a mixture of wonder and unease, sensing the innocence of the figures while simultaneously feeling the weight of the Estatia-esque history pressing upon them. Many interpret the children as the spirits of those who once lived and played on the land, or perhaps the echoes of lives connected to the Native American burial site beneath the estate. Mysterious footprints are another common occurrence at White Oak Estate. Visitors have found small, child-sized prints in dust-covered floors, appearing in areas where no one has walked. These footprints sometimes lead across rooms, through hallways, or into the gardens, only to vanish inexplicably. Guests often report following the prints in an attempt to uncover their source, only to find them ending abruptly or fading into the air. The footprints reinforce the presence of unseen inhabitants, adding a tangible element to the Estatia-S paranormal activity. Many speculate that these prints are left by spirits bound to property, trapped between the physical world and the spiritual plane. Their appearance serves as a reminder that the estate is not merely a house, but a space alive with history, memory, and lingering energy. Shadows moving independently of light sources contribute further to the Estatia-S unsettling reputation. Guests often report seeing dark shapes glide across walls, floors, or gardens in ways that defy the angles of lamps, candles, or moonlight. These shadows are described as fluid, almost alive, and sometimes appear to interact with objects, pausing near furniture or edging along hallways. Visitors often experience a heightened sense of awareness, feeling observed even when alone. The shadows are sometimes accompanied by other phenomena, such as sudden chills, whispers, or the sound of soft footsteps, creating a fully immersive haunting experience. Many interpret these movements as manifestations of restless spirits, the energy of the land itself, or the imprints of those long buried beneath the estate. The history of White Oak Estate provides context for its paranormal activity. Built atop a forgotten Native American burial ground, the land carries layers of memory and energy, both from indigenous peoples and later settlers. Over the centuries, tales of ghostly sightings, unexplained sounds, and strange movements have persisted, suggesting that the site retains the imprint of past lives and experiences. Locals tell stories of people vanishing momentarily, doors closing on their own, or objects shifting unexpectedly. The history of White Oak Estate provides context for its paranormal activity. The combination of a sacred burial site, historic architecture, and a layered human presence creates an environment ripe for paranormal encounters, drawing the curious, the brave, and the historically minded. The curious, the brave, and the historically minded. Drawing the curious, the brave, and the historically minded. Visitors to White Oak Estate often describe experiences that combine visual, auditory, and tactile elements. The laughter of unseen children, footprints appearing mysteriously, and shadows gliding across walls converge to create a hauntingly immersive environment. Many report sudden changes in temperature, feelings of being followed, with a subtle sensation of unseen hands brushing past. The estate's zigzag with long corridors, high ceilings, hidden alcoves, and expansive gardenza amplifies these experiences, making ordinary sights and sounds feel charged with meaning. Guests frequently leave the estate with a deep sense of having touched history and spirit simultaneously, aware that the past is not confined to memory, but continues to interact with the living world. Despite its eerie reputation, White Oak Estate continues to draw visitors eager to experience its history and hauntings firsthand. Guests are encouraged to explore respectfully, acknowledging both the sacred origins of the land and the layers of human experience embedded within the mansion and grounds. Those who witness ghostly children, mysterious footprints, or independent shadows often leave with profound appreciation for the Estatia-S complexity and the enduring presence of its spirits. White Oak Estate in Savannah County is more than a historic mansion. It is a repository of memory, energy, and lingering presences. Ghostly children playing in the night, footprints appearing in dust, and shadows moving on their own serve as reminders that the mansion is alive with history, spirit, and memory, offering a hauntingly beautiful connection to both the Native American past and the generations that followed. For those who enter White Oak Estate, the experience is both mesmerizing and chilling. Childrena-esque laughter drifts through empty corridors. Footprints appear where none could have walked, and shadows glide independently of light, leaving no doubt that unseen presences linger. The mansion is not malevolent, but it is alive with memory, energy, and history. Its halls, gardens, and hidden corners are infused with the echoes of the past, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of White Oak Estate remains for all who explore its storied grounds. Rosewood Hall, located in Macon, Georgia, is an elegant mansion with sweeping staircases, ornate moldings, and sprawling grounds. Its grand appearance, however, belies a tragic history that continues to captivate and unsettle those who enter. The Mansiona-esque dark legacy is tied to a passionate and doomed love affair that ended in murder decades ago. Since that time, visitors have reported hearing whispering couples, flickering lights in the hallways, and shadowy figures embracing in the moonlight. These mysterious phenomena have cemented Rosewood Hall's reputation as one of Macon's most haunted estates, attracting both historians and paranormal enthusiasts eager to experience its lingering energies. One of the most frequently reported occurrences at Rosewood Hall is the sound of whispering voices. Guests recount hearing the soft murmur of a couple conversing in empty rooms or along silent hallways. The whispers often rise and fall with the flicker of candlelight or the movement of shadows, creating a disorienting and immersive experience. Many visitors report feeling an emotional presence, as if the voices carry the weight of the tragic romance that ended in violence. The whispers often rise and fall with the flicker of candlelight or the movement of shadows, creating a disorienting and immersive experience. Some speculate that the voices are echoes of the doomed lovers, forever replaying their final moments within the mansion. Flickering lights throughout the hallways are another hallmark of Rosewood Hall's haunting. Guests frequently describe chandeliers and wall sconces flickering or dimming inexplicably, even in rooms where no electrical issues exist. Sometimes the lights seem to pulse in rhythm with the whispers or shadowy movements, as though responding to the unseen presence of the lovers. Witnesses report that these anomalies often occur during evening hours or at night, enhancing the Mansiona's already ominous atmosphere. The combination of visual and auditory phenomena creates a multi-sensory haunting, making it difficult for visitors to separate the past from the present. Perhaps the most striking element of Rosewood Hall's paranormal activity is the appearance of shadowy figures embracing in the moonlight. Guests walking the gardens or peering through large windows at night have reported seeing two indistinct forms locked in embrace, their outlines illuminated by the glow of the moon. The figures appear to move with intention, sometimes pausing to sway gently or to stand still in a moment of tenderness. When approached, the apparitions vanish, leaving only the cold night air and a lingering sense of loss. Witnesses often describe a mixture of awe and unease, sensing both the love and the tragedy embodied in these spectral figures. Many believe these visions are the restless spirits of the couple, replaying their fateful encounter for anyone willing to observe. The history of Rosewood Hall provides essential context for its hauntings. The mansion was the site of a passionate romance between two prominent families in Macon during the 19th century. Their affair, forbidden by social conventions and family rivalries, escalated to a dramatic climax. One of the lovers met a violent end within the estate. Accounts suggest that the murder was sudden and unresolved, leaving an emotional imprint that some believe has become permanently tied to the mansion. Over the years, stories of whispering voices, flickering lights, and embracing figures have persisted, reinforcing the mansion's reputation as a place where love, betrayal, and tragedy continue, that transcend time, where love, betrayal, and tragedy continue to intersect in ways that transcend time, where love, betrayal, and tragedy continue to intersect, that transcend time, where love, betrayal, and tragedy continue to intersect, that transcend time, where love, betrayal, and tragedy continue to intersect, that transcend time, where love, betrayal, and tragedy continue to intersect. Visitors often describe experiences that combine sound, sight, and almost tactile sense of presence. The whispers of a couple, shadows gliding across walls, and flickering lights converge to create a hauntingly immersive environment. Some report sudden changes in temperature, feelings of being watched, or a subtle brush against their skin, as if an unseen presence is near. The mansion-esque architecture with its long corridors, high ceilings, and secluded rooms amplifies these effects, turning ordinary sights and sounds into something charged with emotion and meaning. Guests often leave Rosewood Hall with a profound sense of having encountered not just history, but a lingering intensity of human emotion itself. Despite the unsettling reputation, Rosewood Hall continues. Guests are encouraged to explore respectfully, aware of the mansion-esque tragic legacy and the energies preserved within its walls. Those who witness whispers, flickering lights, or embracing figures often leave with a deep appreciation for the esthetic-esque complex history and the enduring presence of the spirits tied to it. Rosewood Hall in Macon is more than a historic mansion. It is a repository of memory, emotion, and unresolved history. Whispering couples, flickering lights, and figures embracing in moonlight serve as reminders that the mansion preserves the intensity of human experience. Visitors depart with the understanding that the estate is alive with past passions, tragedies, and lingering presences, offering an unforgettable glimpse into a love that endured beyond death. For those who enter Rosewood Hall, the experience is both beautiful and haunting. Shadows drift silently across hallways, voices whisper with intimacy, and figures embrace in the glow of the moon, leaving no doubt that the mansion is a place where history, memory, and emotion continue to live. The estate is not malevolent, but it is alive with energy, passion, and unresolved stories. Its rooms, corridors, and gardens are infused with echoes of love and tragedy, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of Rosewood Hall remains for all who walk its storied grounds. Blackwood Estate, located in Atlanta, Georgia, is a grand mansion whose impressive architecture and sprawling grounds hide a dark and troubling history. Built in the 1800s, the estate was long rumored to have been the site of hidden crimes and secret executions, stories that have persisted through generations. These dark origins have left a lasting mark on the property, and visitors often report paranormal phenomena that defy explanation. Among the most frequently cited are phantom faces appearing in mirrors, cold, unseen hands gripping arms, and doors slamming shut without warning. These accounts have made Blackwood Estate one of the most infamous haunted locations in Atlanta, drawing both thrill seekers and historians eager to experience its chilling legacy. One of the most unsettling experiences reported at Blackwood Estate is the appearance of phantom faces in mirrors. Guests often describe catching glimpses of unfamiliar, distorted faces reflected in bedroom mirrors, hallways, and ornate glass panels. The faces sometimes appear fleetingly, only visible from the corner of the eye, and vanish when observers turn their gaze directly. Witnesses report a wide range of expressions on these spectral faces, from anguish and despair to anger and malice. Some speculate that these reflections are the remnants of those who suffered or perished on the estate, their visages forever trapped between the physical world and the next. Visitors also frequently report the sensation of cold, unseen hands gripping their arms or shoulders. These tactile encounters are sudden and often leave witnesses momentarily paralyzed with fear. Guests describe a weight or pressure that is unmistakable, as if invisible fingers are holding them in place or guiding them along the darkened corridors. In some cases, these experiences coincide with other phenomena, such as distant whispers, flickering lights, or sudden drops in temperature. The hands are interpreted as the lingering presence of those who suffered or were executed on the property, an unsettling reminder that the mansion-esque past is never truly buried. Many leave the estate with the lingering sensation that the unseen is intimately close, brushing against them in ways that feel both real and impossible. Doors slamming shut without warning are another hallmark of Blackwood Estate's hauntings. Guests frequently recount walking through hallways or entering rooms, only for doors to close violently behind them without any apparent cause. Sometimes the doors slam once, while other times they swing repeatedly, creating a cacophony that echoes through the mansion. Witnesses often report a sudden drop in temperature or a sense of pressure in the room, preceding the door's movement, as if the air itself carries intent. The unpredictable nature of these occurrences adds to the tension, creating a sense of vulnerability and unease that permeates the estate. Some historians suggest that these phenomena are echoes of past executions or hidden crimes, with the mansion itself seemingly reacting to the memory of violence embedded within its walls. The dark history of Blackwood Estate provides essential context for its paranormal reputation. Records and local lore indicate that the mansion was the scene of secretive activities, including the clandestine punishment or execution of wrongdoers, and possibly even more sinister acts that went unreported. Over time, the stories of suffering, fear, and unresolved injustice have become intertwined with the physical structure of the house. Guests report that the estate feels alive with memory, as if the very walls retain the imprints of pain, anger, and betrayal. These stories, combined with centuries of anecdotal accounts, have solidified Blackwood Estatia as standing as a place where the past is never dormant, but instead active, perceptible, and profoundly unsettling. Visitors to Blackwood Estate often describe experiences that are simultaneously auditory, visual, and tactile. Phantom faces, unseen hands, and slamming doors frequently occur together, creating a multi-sensory haunting that can feel overwhelming. Many guests report sudden feelings of dread, an instinctive awareness that they are not alone. The mansione-esque architecture with its high ceilings, long corridors, hidden alcoves, and shadowed corners enhances perception of activity, turning ordinary sounds and movements into something charged with meaning and intent. Guests often leave the estate with a heightened sense of those who suffered within its walls. Despite its foreboding reputation, Blackwood Estate continues to attract visitors intrigued by both its historical significance and its paranormal phenomena. Guests are advised to explore with caution and respect, understanding that the mansion is more than a relic of the past. It is a living repository of memory and energy. Those who witness phantom faces, feel unseen hands, or experience doors slamming often leave with a deep appreciation for the Estatia's layered history and the enduring presence of its spirits. Blackwood Estate is more than a historic mansion. It is a space where memory, energy, and unresolved history converge. Phantom faces and mirrors, cold, gripping hands, and doors that slam without warning serve as constant reminders that the past is alive within the house. Phantom faces and mirrors, cold, gripping hands, and doors that slam without warning serve as constant reminders that the past is alive within the house. Phantom faces and mirrors, cold, gripping hands, and doors that slam without warning serve as constant reminders that the past is alive within the house. Phantom faces and mirrors, cold, gripping hands, and doors that slam without warning serve as constant reminders that the past is alive within the house. Phantom faces and mirrors, cold, gripping hands, and doors that slam without warning serve as constant reminders that the past is alive within the house. Phantom faces and mirrors, cold, gripping hands, and doors that slam without warning serve as constant reminders that the past is alive within the house. Phantom faces and mirrors, cold, gripping hands, and doors that slam without warning serve as constant reminders that the past is alive within the house. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. Visitors depart with the understanding that Blackwood Estate preserves not just architecture, but the echoes of suffering, secrecy, and violence. For those who enter Blackwood Estate, the experience is both unnerving and unforgettable. Faces appear in mirrors, invisible hands make their presence known, and doors swing violently on their own. The mansion is not malevolent in a conventional sense, but is alive with the energy of its past, holding within it the memory of hidden crimes and secret executions. Its halls, rooms, and shadow corners are infused with the echoes of history, ensuring that the haunting and enduring presence of Blackwood Estate remains for all who explore its storied grounds. Harrington Hall, situated in Savannah, Georgia, is a grand estate with sweeping staircases, ornate woodwork, and expansive grounds that evoke a sense of old-world elegance. Yet beneath its stately FAA Section A lies a history wrapped in mystery and dark folklore. The mansion was constructed atop land said to have been cursed by a local which long ago, a detail that continues to shape the eerie reputation of Harrington Hall. Visitors frequently report a series of paranormal phenomena, including shadowy figures in long robes disappearing around corners, books tumbling from shelves without explanation, and sudden, icy chills in otherwise empty rooms. These accounts have made Harrington Hall a magnet for those intrigued by history, the occult, and the supernatural. One of the most frequently reported experiences at Harrington Hall involves the sighting of shadowy figures dressed in long, flowing robes. Residents and guests alike describe glimpsing these forms moving silently through hallways or vanishing around corners, appearing for a moment before dissolving into the shadows. Witnesses often describe a sense of foreboding or unease when these figures are near, as if the air itself has grown heavy with intent. Some speculate that these robes belong to the spirits of the witch's followers, or perhaps the witch herself, forever tied to the mansion and its dark past. The fleeting appearances leave a lingering impression, an almost tangible reminder that the supernatural is close and observant. Books falling from shelves is another hallmark of Harrington Hall's haunting. Visitors report seeing volumes tumble to the floor in areas where no draft or vibration could account for the movement. Sometimes a single book falls silently, landing open as though offering a page for study, while at other times multiple books cascade in a sudden, almost violent manner. Witnesses frequently describe a momentary feeling of being watched or a subtle sense of presence immediately before the books shift. Many interpret these incidents as an attempt by the spirits to communicate, perhaps relaying messages or drawing attention to the lingering energy within the mansion. Reinforcing the notion that Harrington Hall is a space alive with both memory and spirit. Sudden chills in empty rooms add a tactile element to the mansion's supernatural reputation. Guests often report stepping into a room, only to feel an icy draft sweep through, even during warm days or in fully sealed areas. These cold spots are frequently accompanied by a heightened sense of awareness, a feeling that something or something is present just beyond perception. Some visitors have reported hearing faint whispers or sensing movement in the periphery of their vision when these chills occur. The physical sensation of cold, coupled with the visual and auditory phenomena, creates a full-bodied haunting that leaves a lasting impression on those who explore Harrington Hall. The history of the mansion adds context to its paranormal activity. Harrington Hall was built in the 18th century on a site rumored to have been cursed by a local which had been wronged by settlers. According to legend, the curse was meant to ensure that anyone living on the land would be watched and sometimes tormented by unseen forces. Over the centuries, tales of ghostly apparitions, falling books, and sudden chills have persisted, passed down through generations of residents and visitors. The combination of a mystical curse and a long, layered history provides fertile ground for paranormal encounters, making the mansion both a historical treasure and a hub for supernatural activity. Visitors to Harrington Hall often describe experiences that blend auditory, visual, and tactile sensations. The sight of a robed figure moving silently down a corridor, the sudden crash of a book from a high shelf, and the unexpected chill that runs across the skin converge to create a hauntingly immersive experience. Many report a sense of unease or heightened awareness, as if the spirits are observing, guiding, or testing them. The mansion's architecture, with its long corridors, high ceilings, hidden alcoves, and expansive rooms amplifies these effects, turning ordinary movements and sounds into something charged with intent and history. Despite its eerie reputation, Harrington Hall continues to attract visitors interested in both its history and paranormal phenomena. Guests are encouraged to explore with respect, acknowledging the mansiona's legacy and the energies that inhabit it. Those who witness shadowy figures, falling books, or sudden chills often leave a profound sense of connection to the past, understanding that Harrington Hall preserves memory and energy alongside its historical significance. Harrington Hall is more than a historic mansion. It is a space where past events, folklore, and lingering spirits converge. Shadowy figures in robes, books shifting without cause, and icy drafts serve as reminders that the mansion is alive with memory and intent. Visitors depart with the understanding that Harrington Hall holds more than walls and furniture. It safeguards the echoes of the past and the presence of those who remain tied to its history. For those who enter Harrington Hall, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Figures drift silently around corners. Books fall unbidden from shelves. Sudden chills sweep through empty rooms. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, but it is alive with energy and awareness. Its halls, rooms, and hidden corners are infused with the lingering presence of the past, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Harrington Hall remains for all who walk its storied grounds. Claremont Manor, located in Augusta, Georgia, is a sprawling estate with grand columns, expansive windows, and meticulously landscaped gardens. Its elegant exterior, however, conceals a dark and haunting past. The manor was constructed atop the grounds of a former asylum, a fact that has left an indelible mark on the property. Visitors frequently report unsettling experiences, including disembodied voices echoing through empty halls, shadowy figures peering from windows, and furniture moving inexplicably. These phenomena have made Claremont Manor a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts, historians, and those drawn to the eerie intersection of history and the supernatural. One of the most frequently reported occurrences at Claremont Manor is the sound of voices echoing through the halls. Guests often describe hearing murmurs, whispers, or full conversations in rooms that are completely empty. The voices sometimes carry an urgency or distress, as if repeating moments of fear and confusion from the Asaluma's past. Others have reported hearing singing or chanting, soft and fragmented, drifting along corridors with no clear source. The auditory experiences create a sense of presence, making visitors acutely aware that the space is more than it appears. Many interpret these voices as the lingering echoes of former patients, their memories and emotions imprinted on the building itself, replaying the anguish and isolation they once endured. Shadowy figures peering from windows are another hallmark of Claremont Manor's haunting. Guests walking along the exterior gardens or inside the manor often catch glimpses of dark, indistinct shapes standing silently behind glass panes. These figures appear to watch, observing intruders or guests with a silent intensity. When approached, the shadows vanish, leaving only the faint outline of where they stood moments before. Witnesses frequently describe a feeling of being observed or followed, which intensifies the eerie atmosphere. Some suggest that these figures are remnants of asylum patients, their spirits lingering, unable to leave the place where they spent their final days. Others speculate that the shadows may represent staff or caretakers, bound to the building by duty or tragedy. Inexplicable movement of furniture adds a physical dimension to the Manor's Supernatural reputation. Visitors report chairs sliding across floors, tables tipping over, and objects falling from shelves without apparent cause. These incidents often occur in conjunction with other phenomena, such as sudden temperature drops or the distant sound of footsteps. Guests sometimes enter rooms to find a chair move from its usual spot or books scattered across the floor, with no logical explanation. Many interpret these movements as manifestations of unseen energy or the attempt of spirits to communicate or express frustration. The physical interactions with the environment create an immersive experience that blurs the boundary between the living and the spectral. The history of Claremont Manor provides important context for its hauntings. Built atop the foundations of a former asylum, the estate carries layers of memory, emotion, and tragedy. Patients who lived and died on the property endured harsh conditions, isolation, and sometimes untimely deaths. Over time, stories of their suffering, combined with the energy of the land itself, have created a place where echoes of the past are perceptible to those who enter. Local lore suggests that some spirits are restless, replaying moments of fear, confusion, or longing, while others simply linger, tethered to the manor by their experiences. This intersection of history and legend makes Claremont Manor a space where the past is ever-present, visible, and audible. The echo of voices in empty halls, the glimpse of shadowy figures, and furniture moving without cause converge to create a hauntingly immersive environment. Guests report a palpable sense of unease, heightened awareness, and the uncanny impression that unseen presences are near. The manor's architecture with long corridors, high ceilings, hidden alcoves, and expansive rooms amplifies these experiences, turning ordinary sounds and movements into something charged with meaning. Despite its unsettling reputation, Claremont Manor continues to attract visitors interested in its history, architecture, and paranormal activity. Guests are advised to explore respectfully, acknowledging both the historical significance and the lingering spirits present on the grounds. Those who witness echoing voices, shadowed figures, or inexplicable movement often leave with profound appreciation for the estatea's layered past and the ways in which memory and emotion persist in physical spaces. Claremont Manor is more than a historic mansion. It is a repository of human experience and spectral memory. Voices echoing through empty halls, figures peering from windows, and furniture moving inexplicably serve as reminders that the manor is alive with the past. Visitors depart with the understanding that Claremont Manor preserves not only architecture and history, but also the lingering presence of those who once lived and suffered on its grounds. For those who enter Claremont Manor, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Shadows drift silently behind windows, disembodied voices carry through corridors, and objects move without explanation. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, but it is alive with memory, energy, and presence. Its rooms, hallways, and hidden corners are infused with the echoes of suffering and history, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Claremont Manor remains for all who explore its storied grounds. Evergreen Hall, located in Macon, Georgia, is a sprawling mansion with grand verandas, towering windows, and rooms filled with the weight of history. Its elegant architecture belies the dark past of the land on which it was built, a swampy expanse with a long history of drownings and disappearances. The estate sits atop this treacherous terrain, and locals have long whispered of its haunted nature. Visitors to Evergreen Hall report encounters that chill the blood, phantom hands reaching from dark waters, cries of victims lost in the swamp, and shadows creeping silently across floors at night. These experiences have solidified Evergreen Hall as one of Macona's most unnerving haunted sites, drawing thrill-seekers, historians, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. One of the most disturbing phenomena at Evergreen Hall involves phantom hands emerging from the surrounding swampy waters. Guests strolling near the edges of the estatea's wetland or peering through windows overlooking the marsh have described seeing pale, indistinct hands reaching upward, as if grasping for help. Some witnesses claim the hands vanish when approached, leaving only ripples in the water as evidence of their presence. Others recount feeling an inexplicable tug or brush along their clothing, as though invisible fingers had made contact. These occurrences create an immediate sense of danger and dread, reminding visitors that the land itself is steeped in tragedy and lingering energy. Equally haunting are the cries of victims lost to the swamp. Visitors often report hearing distant screams or desperate pleas echoing through the night air. The sounds are sometimes faint, barely perceptible over the rustling of reeds and water, yet other times they swell suddenly, reverberating across the grounds. Guests have described the cries as intensely sorrowful, filled with fear and despair, evoking the countless souls who met untimely ends in the swampy terrain. These auditory experiences leave a lasting impression, blending seamlessly with the Estatia-esque eerie ambience and reinforcing the sense that the swamp-esque tragic past continues to assert itself on the living. Inside Evergreen Hall, shadows crawling across the floors are a frequent sight. Visitors walking through candlelit rooms or long hallways report seeing dark shapes that move independently of any light source or object. These shadows often appear just at the edge of vision, shifting and stretching in ways that defy explanation. Guests describe a sense of being followed or observed, with shadows appearing in multiple rooms and hallways simultaneously. Some interpret these figures as the restless spirits of those who drowned in the swamp, now bound to the estate by the trauma of their deaths. Others believe the shadows are manifestations of the Landa-esque accumulated energy. The history of Evergreen Hall provides critical context for its haunting. The mansion was constructed in the 19th century atop swampy ground notorious for accidents, drownings, and mysterious disappearances. Records and local legends speak of travelers, laborers, and residents who vanished without a trace, many presumed to have perished in the wetlands. Over time, the land became associated with dark energy and lingering spirits, creating an atmosphere of unease that persists to this day. The Mansiona-esque builders and subsequent occupants reportedly took great care in constructing elevated foundations and drainage systems to avoid the swamp-esque dangers. Yet even the architecture could not shield them from the Estatia-esque spectral legacy. Visitors to Evergreen Hall frequently describe experiences that blend visual, auditory, and tactile sensations. Phantom hands rising from the waters, distant cries echoing across the grounds. And shadows moving independently across floors. Guests often report sudden drops in temperature, a feeling of weight or pressure in the air. Or a subtle brushing sensation, as if unseen presences were near. The mansion's layout, with its long corridors, multiple wings, and proximity to the swamp, turning ordinary sights and sounds into moments of profound unease. Many leave the estate with the sense that the past is present, watching, and very much alive. Despite its ominous reputation, Evergreen Hall continues to attract visitors interested in both its history and its paranormal activity. Guests are encouraged to explore with care and respect, recognizing the estate as a space where memory, tragedy, and spectral presence converge. Those who encounter phantom hands, hear cries from the swamp, or witness shadows crawling across floors often depart with a heightened sense of awareness and a lasting impression of the Estatia-esque dark beauty. Evergreen Hall is more than a historic mansion. It is a repository of grief, tragedy, and lingering memory. Phantom hands, echoing cries, and creeping shadows serve as reminders that the estate is alive with the energy of the past. Visitors leave with the understanding that Evergreen Hall preserves not only architecture and history, but also the emotional imprint of countless lives lost to the swamp. For those who enter Evergreen Hall, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Shadowy figures creep silently across floors. Phantom hands reach from dark waters, and the desperate cries of victims echo through the night air. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, yet it is alive with the presence of the past, its tragedies, and its spirits. Its rooms, hallways, and surrounding swamp are infused with the lingering memory of lives cut short, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Evergreen Hall remain for all who walk its storied grounds. Willow Creek Estate, nestled in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, is a sprawling mansion with ornate architecture, sweeping verandas, and grand halls that echo with history. Yet behind its stately FAA Section Ade lies a past marked by tragedy and inexplicable occurrences. The estate is infamous for a mysterious fire that consumed the property decades ago, claiming the lives of both the owners and the servants. Though the mansion has been rebuilt and restored over time, visitors report experiences that suggest the fire's legacy lingers. Ghostly flames without any source, smoke that forms human shapes, and doors slamming violently are just a few of the phenomena that have solidified Willow Creek Estatia's reputation as a haunted location. One of the most frequently reported occurrences at Willow Creek Estate is the appearance of ghostly flames. Guests walking through the hallways or observing the estate from the gardens often describe flickers of fire that have no source or explanation. These flames sometimes appear in rooms long renovated, hovering above the floor or along walls, burning with a subdued, almost ethereal glow. Witnesses report that the flames move erratically, flickering without wind or fuel, and often vanish when approached directly. Some speculate that these fires are manifestations of the souls of those lost in the blaze, replaying the moment of their demise or signaling their unrest. The effect is disorienting and deeply unsettling, a visual reminder of tragedy that refuses to be forgotten. Visitors have described watching tendrils of smoke curling and twisting, gradually coalescing into figures that resemble the mansiona's former residents or servants. These spectral forms sometimes appear as if reaching out, moving silently through corridors or across rooms. Guests report feeling a palpable presence during these sightings, a sense that the smoke figures are aware of their observation. Some interpret these apparitions as the spirits of those who perished in the fire, their essence lingering in the very air. The smoke shapes can evoke both sorrow and terror, appearing unexpectedly in areas that have long been restored or renovated, reminding visitors that history remains alive within this estate. Doors slamming violently is another common occurrence reported at Willow Creek Estate. Guests recount entering a room only for the door to swing shut with a force that seems impossible without human intervention. Sometimes the doors slam once, while other times they repeatedly bang, creating cacophony that echoes throughout the mansion. Witnesses often describe a sudden drop in temperature or a feeling of pressure in the air immediately before these events, as if the very atmosphere is charged with energy. These slamming doors contribute to a pervasive sense of unease, making visitors acutely aware that the estate is not merely a structure of brick and wood, but a space alive with memory and residual energy from the fire that devastated it. The history of Willow Creek Estate provides context for these haunting phenomena. The mansion, originally built in the early 19th century, was a center of both opulence and daily labor, with owners and servants alike living closely within its walls. A catastrophic fire swept through the estate, leaving behind charred remnants and a legacy of death and loss. Over time, as the mansion was rebuilt and renovated, the tragic events of that night did not fade from memory. Local lore and repeated eyewitness accounts suggest that the fire's energy of painful, sudden, and unresolved Veda has imprinted itself upon the building. This energy manifests as visual, auditory, and physical disturbances that continue to affect those who enter the estate. Visitors often describe experiences at Willow Creek Estate that combine multiple sensory elements. The sight of ghostly flames, the movement of smoke forming human shapes, and the violent slamming of doors converge to create an immersive and terrifying environment. Guests frequently report a heightened sense of awareness, feeling as though unseen eyes are observing them from every corner of the mansion. Some have even described a sense of being gadita or warnita by the spirits lingering within the halls. The mansion's architecture, with its long corridors, hidden alcoves, and high ceilings, amplifies these effects, making ordinary movements and sounds take on an ominous significance. Despite its chilling reputation, Willow Creek Estate continues to attract visitors intrigued by its history and supernatural activity. Guests are encouraged to explore with respect, acknowledging both the tragic past and the lingering presence of spirits within the estate. Those who witness ghostly flames, smoke figures, or slamming doors often leave a profound sense of Mansiona's layered history and the powerful emotions embedded in its walls. Willow Creek Estate is more than a historic mansion. It is a place where tragedy, memory, and the supernatural converge. Ghostly flames, smoke that takes human form, and violently slamming doors serve as reminders that the past is never truly gone. Visitors depart with the understanding that this estate preserves not only architecture and history, but also the echoes of lives lost and events that shaped its very essence. The experience is both unforgettable and deeply unnerving. Smoke forms figures that vanish when approached. The mansion is not overtly malevolent. Its halls, rooms, and hidden corners are imbued with the presence of those who perished in the fire. Oak Hill Manor, nestled in Savannah, Georgia, is a grand estate with stately columns, expansive lawns, and sweeping verandas that speak to a bygone era. Yet beneath its elegant exterior lies a legacy steeped in tragedy and haunting. During the Civil War, a soldier was killed on the grounds of the manor, and his presence has never left. Over the years, visitors and locals alike have reported unsettling phenomena. Phantom gunfire echoing through the halls, the rhythmic sound of marching across the lawns, and spectral soldiers appearing at sunset as if replaying moments of a battle long past. These reports have cemented Oak Hill Manor's reputation as one of Savannah's most haunted estates, drawing historians, ghost hunters, and curious travelers seeking a glimpse of the spectral past. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is phantom gunfire. Guests walking to the halls or standing on the lawns often hear sharp, sudden bursts of sound, resembling musket or rifle shots. The noises are distinct, echoing in a way that suggests proximity. Yet, when investigated, there is never any source. Witnesses describe a tense atmosphere immediately following the sound, as though the manor itself holds its breath. Some believe these gunshots are echoes of the soldier's final moments, the violent energy of his death imprinted upon the estate. Others suggest that they are residual memories of the battles fought nearby, carried across time by the land and absorbed into the very walls of the manor. Equally haunting are the sounds of marching across the lawns. Visitors often report hearing the rhythmic stomp of boots, growing louder and closer as they approach windows or step outside. The sound often persists even when no one is present, fading gradually as if the phantom troops are moving on. Witnesses describe glimpsing shadows of uniformed figures in the distance, moving in formation and vanishing when approached. The effect is chilling, as if the estate exists in a space where past and present overlap, and the echoes of war are never fully silenced. At sunset, Oak Hill Manor seems to transform entirely. Spectral soldiers reportedly appear across the grounds, emerging from the shadows as the sun dips below the horizon. Witnesses describe the figures in period uniforms, rifles at the ready, some standing solemnly, others frozen mid-march. The apparition is often accompanied by a palpable sense of presence, an awareness that unseen eyes are watching. Guests report chills, goosebumps, and the impression that the figures are aware of them, even acknowledging their presence before vanishing entirely. Some interpret these appearances as the lingering spirit of the soldier who died on the grounds, joined by comrades who met similar fates, replaying moments from the past in a silent, spectral procession. The history of Oak Hill Manor provides context for these haunting experiences. Built in the early 19th century, the manor stood witness to the turmoil of the Civil War, serving as both a home and a strategic location during military movements. The soldier who died on the estate was part of a skirmish that left the ground soaked in blood and marked by violence. Over time, stories of his death and the phantom soldier spread through the community, blending with the natural mystique of Savannah's historic estates. The manor itself became a focal point for legend and memory. Visitors often describe experiences that combine auditory, visual, and sensory elements. The sharp report of phantom gunfire, the rhythmic march of invisible soldiers, and the visual manifestation of spectral figures converge to create a hauntingly immersive experience. Guests frequently report a sudden drop in temperature, goosebumps, or a feeling of pressure in the air, enhancing the sense of otherworldly presence. The mansione's architecture with long corridors, expansive lawns, and high windowsa amplifies these effects, turning ordinary movements and sounds into something charged with history and spectral energy. Many leave with a deep impression that the manor is not merely a building, but a living repository of memory, tragedy, and lingering presence. Despite its unnerving reputation, Oak Hill Manor continues to attract visitors interested in history, architecture, and paranormal phenomena. Guests are encouraged to explore respectfully, acknowledging both the legacy of the Civil War and the spectral inhabitants who remain bound to the estate. Those who witness phantom gunfire, hear the march of unseen soldiers, or see figures at sunset often depart with profound appreciation for the menorah-esque layered past and the ways in which history continues to resonate in the present. Those who witness phantom gunfire, hear the march of unseen soldiers, or see figures at sunset often depart with profound appreciation for the menorah-esque layered past and the ways in which history continues to resonate in the present. Oak Hill Manor is more than a historic estate. It is a place where memory, tragedy, and spectral presence converge. Phantom gunfire, marching echoes, and spectral soldiers serve as reminders that the past is never truly gone. Visitors depart understanding that the manor preserves not only architecture and history, but also the lingering presence of lives lost on its grounds. For those who enter Oak Hill Manor, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Gunfire sound without source. Footsteps echo across empty lawns, and soldiers appear as shadows at sunset. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, but it is alive with the energy of its tragic past. Its halls, rooms, and surrounding grounds are imbued with the presence of those who fought and died there, ensuring that a haunting and enduring aura of Oak Hill Manor remains for all who walk its storied grounds. Cedarwood Hall, located in Macon, Georgia, stands as a sprawling estate surrounded by dense forests and winding paths. Its grand architecture and manicured lawns hint at elegance and refinement, yet the land beneath it holds a far darker history. Shadowy figures flit among the trees, whispers in unknown languages drift through the halls, and cold spots appear in every room, seemingly following those who explore the estate. The grounds beneath it hold a far darker history. The haunting energy permeates the grounds, making Cedarwood Hall a destination for historians, ghost hunters, and anyone intrigued by the mysteries of the past. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Cedarwood Hall is the presence of shadowy figures on the forested grounds. Guests walking along the Estatia-esque perimeter often glimpse dark silhouettes moving silently between the trees. These figures are rarely fully visible, appearing more as shifting forms and as distinct shapes, yet their presence is unmistakable. Witnesses report feeling watched, a tension that tightens in their chest as the shadows seem to draw closer, then vanish suddenly, leaving only an eerie stillness. Some speculate these entities are remnants of those who once performed ancient rituals on the land, their energy lingering long after the ceremonies ended. Others suggest they are protective spirits, warning visitors to remain respectful of the estate and its history. Whispers in languages unknown are another hallmark of Cedarwood Hall's haunting. Guests often report hearing soft voices drifting through corridors or along outdoor pathways, speaking words that cannot be recognized or translated. The whispers sometimes emerge in moments of silence, growing louder as visitors pause to listen, only to fade when anyone attempts to locate the source. Some describe the tones as melodic, almost ritualistic, while others find them chilling, filled with urgency or command. These auditory phenomena reinforce the idea that the estate is a conduit for energies beyond comprehension, with the voices representing echoes of practices, incantations, or warnings from generations long past. The mysterious whispers create an unsettling atmosphere, reminding all who enter that the estate holds secrets not easily understood by the living. Cold spots appear throughout Cedarwood Hall, adding a tactile element to its supernatural activity. Guests frequently feel sudden chills in rooms otherwise warm, or drops in temperature that defy explanation. The cold often accompanies other phenomena: the soft brush of a shadow, the distant whisper, or the feeling of being watched. Some visitors report standing in one spot only to feel the temperature shift dramatically, a sensation so sudden and intense that it stops their breath. These pockets of cold contribute to the pervasive sense of unease, reinforcing the notion that unseen forces are present, and that the estate is imbued with the lingering energy of ancient rites. The history of Cedarwood Hall provides context for its haunting. On which it was built was once a site of ritualistic practices, with evidence suggesting ceremonies dating back centuries. The Estatia-esque construction did not erase this history. Rather, it appears to have preserved it, capturing the energy and emotion of past events within the very soil, trees, and structure. Local lore recounts tales of gatherings in the forested areas, of ceremonies invoking protection, and of spirits that remained tied to the land long after the rituals ended. Over time, these stories merge with the experiences of visitors to Cedarwood Hall, creating a rich tapestry of legend and paranormal activity that continues to draw the curious and the brave. Visitors often describe experiences at Cedarwood Hall that engage multiple senses. The sight of shadowy figures moving among the trees, the sound of whispered words in unknown languages, and the tactile sensation of cold air in rooms converge to create an immersive haunting. Guests frequently report a feeling of presence, an awareness that unseen eyes are observing their every movement. The estate's architectural long hallways, hidden alcoves, and high ceilings, combined with the dense surrounding forest, amplifies these phenomena, making ordinary sounds and shadows seem charged with meaning. Many leave with despite its unnerving reputation, Cedarwood Hall continues to attract visitors. Guests are encouraged to approach the estate with respect, acknowledging both the weight of its past and the lingering presence of unseen entities. Those who witness shadowy figures, hear whispers, or feel sudden chills often depart, with profound appreciation for the depth of the manor's history and the spectral traces that remain. Cedarwood Hall is more than a historic estate. It is a living repository of memory, ritual, and lingering energy. Visitors leave understanding that the estate preserves not only physical structures, but also the echo of ancient practices, the energy of those who once walked its grounds, and the enduring presence of unseen watchers. The echo of ancient practices, the energy of those who once walked its grounds, and the enduring presence of unseen watchers. For those who enter Cedarwood Hall, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Whispers fill the air with unknown meanings, and pockets of cold air brush past without cause. The estate is not overtly malevolent, yet it is alive with history, memory, and spectral presence. Its halls, rooms, and forested grounds are infused with the remnants of centuries-old rituals, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Cedarwood Hall remains for all who walk its storied paths. Briarwood Mansion, situated in Atlanta, Georgia, is an imposing estate with elegant brickwork, towering windows, and sprawling grounds that speak to a history of wealth and refinement. Yet beneath its stately appearance lies a history steeped in mystery and unease. The mansion is built on a site where an entire family vanished without explanation decades ago. Since that time, visitors have reported a range of eerie occurrences: shadowy figures vanishing behind walls, footsteps echoing through empty attics, and faint voices calling names in the darkness. These experiences have established Briarwood Mansion as one of Atlanta's most enigmatic and haunted locations. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Briarwood Mansion involves figures appearing and disappearing behind walls. Guests exploring the expansive halls or observing rooms from the grand staircase often catch glimpses of human silhouettes at the edge of their vision. Witnesses describe the shadows as moving with intent, sometimes pausing as if aware of being watched, then melting into the walls or corners. Some believe these apparitions are the lost family, trapped between worlds, their forms replaying moments of life before their disappearance. Others suggest the mansion itself holds residual energy, imprinting the past onto its walls and creating the illusion of figures in motion. Footsteps in the attics are another hallmark of Briarwood Mansion's haunting. Visitors ascending to the upper floors or exploring storage spaces often hear the unmistakable sound of someone walking above them, pacing slowly or moving quickly across the floorboards. Yet when guests investigate, the attic is empty and the noise ceases. Some describe the footsteps as hesitant and searching, while others recount hearing rapid, purposeful movement, as if the unseen occupant is tending to unfinished business. The attic's wooden beams amplify the sound, creating an auditory illusion that can be both disorienting and unnerving. Many who experience this phenomenon report a physical sensation of being observed, a weight pressing lightly on the back or shoulders as the footsteps echo through the space. Faint voices calling names in the darkness are perhaps the most chilling aspect of Briarwood Mansiona's paranormal activity. Visitors have reported hearing whispers that call out their own names, sometimes softly and mournfully, other times urgently and pleadingly. The voices often emerge in moments of silence, echoing through hallways, closets, or empty rooms. Some guests have described hearing multiple voices simultaneously, overlapping and blending into an unintelligible chorus. The effect is intensely personal and haunting, leaving visitors with the sensation that the mansion is aware of their presence and reaching out to communicate. Many interpret these calls as attempts by the vanished family to make contact. The history of Briarwood Mansion provides context for these chilling occurrences. No records explain their fate, and rumors of foul play, supernatural intervention, or unexplained vanishings have persisted for generations, suggesting that the loss of the family left an imprint on both the structure and the surrounding grounds. Visitors to Briarwood Mansion frequently describe experiences that engage multiple senses, making the haunting immersive and deeply unsettling. Shadowy figures vanish behind walls. Footsteps echo in attics, and faint voices call names in the darkness. Many report sudden drops in temperature or an inexplicable pressure in the air, enhancing the sensation of being watched or followed. The mansion's designa, with long corridors, hidden alcoves, and multiple stories, amplifies these phenomena, turning ordinary movements and sounds into moments of supernatural intensity. Guests leave with a sense of the mansion as a living entity, a place where past and present intersect in ways that defy explanation. Despite its unnerving reputation, Briarwood Mansion continues to draw visitors interested in history, architecture, and the paranormal. Guests are advised to approach the estate with caution and respect, acknowledging both its tragic history and the lingering presence of the vanished family. Those who witness figures disappearing behind walls, hear footsteps in attics, or hear names called in the darkness often leave with profound awareness of the mansion's layered past and the spectral energy that remains embedded in its halls. Briarwood Mansion is more than a historic residence. It is a place where memory, mystery, and spectral presence converge. Figures vanishing behind walls, footsteps in attics, and voices calling from the darkness serve as constant reminders that the past is never fully gone. Visitors depart understanding that the mansion preserves not only physical architecture, but also the essence of those who lived and vanished within its walls. For those who enter Briarwood Mansion, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Shadowy figures slip behind walls, footsteps echo above in empty attics, and faint voices whisper names in the dark. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, yet it is alive with the energy of its tragic past. Its corridors, rooms, and hidden corners are infused with the presence of the family who disappeared, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Briarwood Mansion remains for all who explore its storied grounds. Hawthorne Estate, located in Savannah County, Georgia, is an elegant mansion surrounded by sprawling gardens. Its stately architecture, with grand halls and sweeping staircases, reflects a bygone era of refinement and opulence. Yet beneath this beautiful exterior lies a history marked by tragedy and lingering spirits. The estate is famously haunted by the apparition of a governess who died under mysterious and tragic circumstances. Since her death, guests and visitors have reported a range of eerie phenomena, her figure gliding silently through corridors, and mirrors reflecting images of people who are not present. These experiences have cemented Hawthorne Estate as one of the most haunted locations in Savannah County, drawing historians, paranormal investigators, and curious travelers. One of the most commonly reported manifestations at Hawthorne Estate is the apparition of the governess. Guests often describe seeing a tall, shadowy figure moving gracefully through hallways, her presence accompanied by a soft, almost imperceptible rustling of fabric. Witnesses report that she glides rather than walks, appearing and disappearing at the edges of their vision. Some have described a feeling of being followed, a subtle awareness that someone unseen is present in the room. The governess is sometimes seen pausing by doorways or standing at the foot of staircases, her expression unreadable, then vanishing when approached. Some speculate that her spirit remains bound to the estate, replaying moments of her life and death. Books flipping open by themselves is another common occurrence reported by visitors. Guests exploring the library or sitting in quiet reading rooms have observed books moving, pages turning, or entire volumes falling from shelves without explanation. Some report that the books open to passages that seem strangely relevant, often reflecting themes of loss, guidance, or warning. The activity is unpredictable and can happen at any time, leaving witnesses both startled and intrigued. Many interpret these incidents as a governess attempting to communicate, perhaps reaching out to the living to convey messages from beyond the grave. Others believe it is residual energy, the imprint of her presence in spaces where she spent much of her life. Mirrors reflecting figures that are not present is yet another chilling phenomenon. Guests often report glimpsing shapes and reflective surfaces that vanish when looked at directly, or seeing apparitions behind them when no one else is in the room. Some have described mirrors showing a faint outline of the governess, standing silently, her gaze following them as they move through the estate. These reflections often appear unexpectedly in hallways, bedrooms, or grand entryways, creating a sense of disorientation and unease. Many visitors feel a sudden coldness when witnessing these reflections, reinforcing the idea that the governess's presence is tangible and potent. The history of Hawthorne Estate provides context for these haunting experiences. Built in the 1800s, the mansion employed a governess to care for the children of a wealthy family. Historical records suggest she died under tragic circumstances, though accounts vary as some speak of illness, others of an accident within the house. Whatever the cause, her death left a profound mark on the estate, and local lore maintains that her spirit never left. Over the years, visitors and caretakers have reported experiences that suggest she remains tethered to the house, bound by duty, grief, or unresolved matters from her life. These phenomena are often consistent across decades, reinforcing the idea that her presence is enduring and persistent. Guests frequently describe experiences at Hawthorne Estate that engage multiple senses. The sight of the governess gliding through corridors, the tactile sense of sudden cold spots, books moving inexplicably, and the eerie reflections in mirrors converge to create an immersive haunting. Many report a heightened awareness of space, feeling observed even when alone. Some recount the sensation of footsteps accompanying them along the hallways or the soft sound of rustling fabric as they move through rooms. The architecture of the mansiona long corridors, hidden alcoves, and high-ceilinged rooms amplifies these occurrences, turning ordinary sounds and movements into experiences charged with the energy of the past. Despite its haunting reputation, Hawthorne Estate continues to attract visitors eager to explore its history and paranormal activity. Guests are advised to approach with respect, acknowledging both the tragic history of the governess and the enduring presence of her spirit. Those who witness apparitions, books moving, or reflections in mirrors often leave a profound awareness of the mansiona's layered history and the unseen presences that continue to inhabit it. A place where memory, tragedy, and lingering energy converge, and mirrors reflecting figures that are not there, that the past is never fully gone. Understanding that the estate preserves not only architectural grandeur, whose life and death continue to echo through its halls. For those who enter Hawthorne Estate, the experience is haunting and unforgettable. Shadowy figures glide silently, books move without touch, and mirrors reveal presences unseen. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, yet it is alive with the energy of its past. Its rooms, corridors, and reflective surfaces are infused with the lingering presence of the governess, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Hawthorne Estate remains for all who explore its storied grounds. Redwood Hall, located in Augusta, Georgia, is an imposing mansion surrounded by dense woods and expansive lawns, its elegant architecture hinting at wealth and refinement. Yet beneath its grandeur lies a history darkened by tragedy. The estate is famously haunted, its curse originating from a violent land dispute that ended in death many decades ago. Since that time, visitors have reported eerie phenomena, cries echoing from the surrounding woods, phantom lights flickering among the trees, and shadowy figures appearing in the mansiona's windows at night. These accounts have established Redwood Hall as one of Augusta's most haunted and mysterious estates. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Redwood Hall is the cries heard from the surrounding woods. Guests walking along the estate's paths or exploring the forested periphery often hear anguished wails that seem to rise from the earth itself. The cries are described as human yet untraceable, distant yet disturbingly close, resonating to the trees with an intensity that can make the hair on the back of one's neck stand on end. Witnesses report that the sounds often intensify in the evening or during foggy nights, moments when the woods take on an almost ethereal quality. Some believe the cries are the restless spirits of those who died during the land dispute. Trapped between worlds and forever bound to the land they once fought over. Others suggest that the cries are residual energy, echoes of violence imprinted upon the soil and air, replaying through time. Phantom lights flickering among the trees are another hallmark of Redwood Hall-esque hauntings. Visitors often describe seeing small, glowing orbs drifting to the forest, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. These lights have been reported moving along paths, hovering over roots and branches, or floating above the grass as though observing anyone who approaches. Witnesses describe the lights as cold and unnatural, unlike any fireflies or lanterns, and often accompanied by a sense of being watched. Some believe the lights are manifestations of the spirits themselves, guiding or warning intruders from shadows. Others theorize that they are connected to ancient energy lingering in the land, a spectral reflection of the violent events that occurred during the historic dispute. Figures appearing in windows at night add another layer of fear and fascination to Redwood Hall. Guests who walk around the estate after dark have reported seeing silhouettes in the mansione-esque upper floors or through ground-level windows. These figures are often described as human in shape but indistinct, standing motionless or slowly shifting from one position to another. When approached, they vanish, leaving no trace and no logical explanation. Some witnesses report the figures staring outward, as though observing those outside, while others see them moving past the glass without reflection or distortion. Many interpret these apparitions as spirits of those lost during the deadly land dispute, eternally replaying moments of life or death within the mansione-esque walls. The history of Redwood Hall sheds light on the origin of these hauntings. Built in the 1800s, the estate was the center of a bitter land dispute between neighboring families. The disagreement escalated to violence, culminating in death and bloodshed on the property. Local records describe the incident as sudden and brutal, leaving the land marked by grief, anger, and unresolved tension. Over the years, the mansion and surrounding woods became associated with the tragedy, with generations of residents and visitors reporting supernatural activity. These experiences suggest that the violent energy of the past continues to resonate through the estate, influencing the present with eerie, unexplainable phenomena that engage multiple senses. The mournful cries from the woods, the flickering phantom lights, and the shadowy figures in the windows converge to create an immersive haunting. And the flickering phantom lights, and the shadowy figures in the windows. Guests report sudden chills, the feeling of being observed, and a heaviness in the air that seems to press against them. The feeling of being observed, and a heaviness in the air that seems to press against them. And a heaviness in the air that seems to press against them. The architecture of the mansione, tall windows, expansive halls, and hidden alcoves, combined with the dense surrounding forest, amplifies these sensations, making ordinary sounds and shadows seem charged with supernatural energy. Many leave with the impression that Redwood Hall is not merely a building, but a living repository of history, grief, and lingering spirits. Despite its unsettling reputation, Redwood Hall continues to attract visitors interested in history, architecture, and the paranormal. Guests are encouraged to explore the estate with caution and respect, acknowledging both the tragic past and the lingering presence of spirits. Those who witness cries from the woods, phantom lights among the trees, or figures in the windows often leave with profound awareness of the mansione-esque layered history and the unresolved energy that remains. Redwood Hall is more than a historic mansion. It is a place where memory, tragedy, and spectral presence converge. Cries from the woods, phantom lights, and apparitions in windows serve as reminders that the past is never truly gone. Visitors depart understanding that the estate preserves not only its physical grandeur, but also the lingering echoes of those who died on its grounds, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Redwood Hall remains for all who explore its storied property. For those who enter Redwood Hall, the experience is both chilling and unforgettable. Cries echo through the forest, lights drift among the trees, and figures appear in windows, vanishing without explanation. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, yet it is alive with the energy of past tragedy. Its halls, grounds, and surrounding woods are infused with the presence of those who perished during the deadly dispute, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Redwood Hall continues to captivate and unsettle all who walk its historic grounds. Willowbrook Manor, nestled in Macon, Georgia, is an imposing estate with grand columns, sweeping staircases, and meticulously maintained gardens. At first glance, it appears a testament to elegance and historical wealth. However, the land beneath the manor tells a far darker story. Constructed atop an old slave cemetery, Willowbrook Manor has long been known for its restless spirits. Visitors consistently report unnerving phenomena: figures in chains wandering the grounds, anguished voices calling out from unseen corners, and phantom footsteps echoing through empty rooms. These chilling experiences have made Willowbrook Manor a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts, historians, and anyone drawn to places with a haunted past. One of the most frequently reported manifestations at Willowbrook Manor. Guests walking through the gardens or along the halls often glimpse shadowy silhouettes. Witnesses describe feeling an overwhelming heaviness when these figures appear, as though the weight of their chains is transferred to those observing them. Some believe these spirits are the souls of enslaved people who perished on the property, forever bound to the land where they endured unimaginable hardship. Others suggest that the figures are residual energy, trapped in a continuous loop, reliving moments of pain and captivity that occurred generations ago. The anguished voices that echo throughout the manor are another hallmark of its haunting. Visitors often hear cries of despair, whispered names, or low moans emanating from rooms or corridors that appear empty. Sometimes the voices are loud, other times they're soft, but always seem to be coming from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. These auditory phenomena are so vivid that many feel compelled to stop and listen, as if the spirits are reaching out to communicate. Scholars and paranormal investigators suggest that the voices may be residual echoes of past suffering, persisting across time as a stark reminder of the atrocities endured on the estate. Phantom footsteps in empty rooms add yet another layer to Willowbrook Menorah's eerie reputation. Guests often recount hearing the creak of floorboards or the soft patter of shoes in rooms devoid of any human presence. These footsteps sometimes follow visitors, moving through hallways or staircases in a rhythm that suggests deliberate motion. Many describe the sound as unnervingly close, accompanied by the sensation of being watched or followed. The menorah's wooden floors and high ceilings amplify these noises, turning ordinary sounds into experiences charged with tension and fear. For some, the footsteps seem to echo the movement of figures in chains, reinforcing the sense that the spirits remain tethered to the estate, endlessly retracing their final paths. The history of Willowbrook Manor explains the origin of these haunting experiences. Built in the 1800s on the site of a slave cemetery, the estate occupies land where countless enslaved individuals lived and died under harsh conditions. While the manor itself represents wealth and refinement, the ground it rests upon is a repository of grief, suffering, and unresolved trauma. Local lore maintains that those who perish on the land left behind a profound spiritual imprint, one that continues to influence the living through apparitions, voices, and unexplained movements. Generations of caretakers, guests, and paranormal investigators have corroborated these phenomena, suggesting that the estate is not only historically significant, but also a powerful site of lingering energy. The sight of figures in chains moving silently through corridors, the auditory presence of anguished voices, and the tactile sensation of footsteps approaching from empty rooms converge to create an immersive haunting, an overwhelming sense of being observed. The architecture of the manor, with its long hallways, hidden rooms, and high-ceilinged chambers, Many leave the estate with a profound understanding of the depth of its history. Despite its chilling reputation, Willowbrook Manor continues to attract visitors fascinated by history and the paranormal. Guests are advised to explore the estate with respect, acknowledging both the tragic past of the land and the enduring presence of restless spirits. Those who witness figures in chains, hear anguished voices, or encounter phantom footsteps often leave with a deep sense of the weight of history and the energy that persists in every corner of the manor. Willowbrook Manor is more than a historic residence. It is a place where memory, suffering, and spectral presence converge. Figures in chains, voices calling out in anguish, and footsteps in empty rooms serve as reminders that the past is never fully gone. Visitors depart understanding that the estate preserves not only its physical architecture, but also the spirits of those who endured unimaginable hardship on its grounds, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Willowbrook Manor remains. For all who walk its storied halls, for those who enter Willowbrook Manor, the experience is both haunting and unforgettable. Shadowy figures drag unseen chains, voices echo with grief, and footsteps approach from empty rooms. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, yet it is alive with the energy of the past. Its halls, chambers, and surrounding grounds are infused with the lingering presence of those who suffered on the land, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Willowbrook Manor continues to captivate, unsettle, and remind visitors of its dark, powerful history. Ashwood Hall, located in Atlanta, Georgia, stands as an imposing mansion amid sprawling grounds and dense tree lines. Its stately architecture, grand entryways, and expansive windows convey wealth and sophistication, yet the land beneath tells a far darker story. Constructed atop land once home to a secretive cult, Ashwood Hall has long been associated with eerie and unexplained phenomena. Visitors report shadowy cloaked figures moving silently through corridors, whispers chanting in unknown languages, and sudden cold spots that appear without warning. Visitors report shadowy cloaked figures moving silently through corridors, whispers chanting in unknown languages, and sudden cold spots that appear without warning. These occurrences have cemented Ashwood Hall as one of Atlanta's most mysterious and haunted estates, drawing ghost hunters, historians, and thrill-seekers intrigued by its spectral activity. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Ashwood Hall is the appearance of shadowy cloaked figures. Guests exploring the grand halls, staircases, or even the gardens often catch glimpses of tall, dark forms gliding through the corners of their vision. These figures are typically hooded or cloaked, their faces obscured, giving them an aura of menace and mystery. Witnesses report that the figures move deliberately, sometimes pausing at doorways or staircases, then vanishing when approached. Some speculate that these apparitions are remnants of the cult members who once inhabited the land, bound to mansion by rituals, secrets, or unfinished business. Others suggest they are residual echoes of energy left imprinted on the property by past ceremonies and gatherings, replaying through time. Whispers chanting in corridors add an unsettling auditory dimension to the haunting. Visitors often hear low murmurs in hallways or rooms that appear empty, forming words or phrases that cannot be understood. Sometimes the whispers rise to a chanting rhythm, a cadence that feels ritualistic and deliberate. Guests report hearing these sounds during quiet moments or when the estate is otherwise empty, lending the sensation that the mansion itself is alive with unseen activity. The voices are described as ethereal, disembodied, and sometimes layered, as if multiple individuals are speaking simultaneously. Many who experience this phenomenon feel an immediate sense of unease, as if they have intruded upon something private and dangerous. Paranormal investigators suggest these sounds are manifestations of the energy left by the cult, their rituals echoing through the mansion long after the members vanished. Sudden cold spots appearing randomly throughout the estate are another hallmark of Ashwood Hall's haunting. Guests report walking along warm, sunlit corridors only to feel a sharp drop in temperature in certain areas, as if an invisible presence has passed nearby. Some describe the sensation as a chill that brushes across the back of the neck or shoulders, accompanied by the feeling of being observed. The cold can be localized to a doorway, a hallway corner, or even in the middle of a large room. Some describe the sensation as a chill that brushes across the back of the neck or shoulders, accompanied by the feeling of being observed. These temperature fluctuations often coincide with sightings of cloaked figures. The history of Ashwood Hall provides context for these unnerving occurrences. Constructed in the 1800s, the estate sits on land formerly occupied by a secretive cult. Local lore describes rituals conducted in hidden groves and underground chambers, with practices that range from spiritual to sinister. While little documentation exists, tales passed down through generations hint at tragic and violent events tied to the cult's presence. Over time, the land's dark history became intertwined with the mansion's identity, and reports of paranormal activity emerged, consistent with the notion that powerful, residual energy had been left behind. Visitors to Ashwood Hall often describe experiences that engage multiple senses, making the haunting immersive and intensely memorable. Shadowy figures glide silently along hallways. Chanting whispers ripple through empty corridors, and sudden cold spots create a tangible sense of unease. Many guests report the sensation of being followed or watched, particularly when alone in the estate. The mansion's long corridors, hidden alcoves, and high ceilings amplify these experiences, making ordinary sounds and shadows feel charged with otherworldly energy. Some have even recounted glimpsing cloaked figures standing at the edge of rooms, vanishing as they draw near, leaving only a lingering chill behind. Despite its unnerving reputation, Ashwood Hall continues to attract visitors interested in history, architecture, and paranormal activity. Guests are encouraged to explore the mansion with respect, acknowledging both the dark legacy of the land and the lingering presence of its unseen inhabitants. Those who witness shadowy figures, hear chanting whispers, or feel cold spots often leave with a heightened awareness of the mansion's layered history and the unseen forces that remain. Despite the unnerving experiences, guests often leave with newfound appreciation for the mansion's complex history and the mysterious forces that linger within. Ashwood Hall is more than a historic estate. It is a place where memory, secrecy, and spectral energy converge. Cloaked figures gliding through corridors, whispers chanting in unknown tongues, and sudden cold spots serve as reminders that the past is never fully gone. Visitors depart understanding that the mansion preserves not only its physical grandeur, but also the lingering echoes of those who once occupied the land, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Ashwood Hall continues to captivate and unsettle all who walk its storied halls. For those who enter Ashwood Hall, the experience is chilling and unforgettable. Shadowy cloaked figures move silently, whispers chant in the dark, and cold spots appear without warning. The mansion is not overtly malevolent, yet it is alive with the energy of its hidden past. Its corridors, rooms, and surrounding grounds are infused with the lingering presence of the cult and the secrets it left behind, ensuring that the haunting and enduring aura of Ashwood Hall remains for anyone who dares to explore it. Magnolia Estate, nestled in the heart of Savannah County, Georgia, stands as a stately property whose grandeur belies the dark history embedded within its walls. With sprawling gardens, towering columns, and architecture reminiscent of the antebellum era, the estate presents an image of elegance and refinement. Yet beneath its polished exterior lies a legacy of tragedy. Haunted by multiple calamities, including drownings in the nearby pond and mysterious disappearances of residents and guests, Magnolia Estate has long captured the attention of those intrigued by the supernatural. Visitors consistently report ghostly lights moving across the property, figures appearing at windows, and unexplained sounds echoing to the halls, marking the estate as one of Savannah County's most haunted locations. One of the most striking phenomena reported at Magnolia Estate is the presence of ghostly lights moving across the property. Witnesses describe small orbs or glowing shapes that drift through the gardens, along the long driveways, or across the edges of the pond. These lights appear at night, often during foggy or moonlit evenings, and move in ways that seem deliberate rather than random. Some guests have seen the lights follow paths or hover over specific spots, as though pointing to something or watching over the estate. Some guests have seen the lights follow paths or hover over specific spots, as though pointing to something or watching over the estate. The spirits of those who perish on the grounds, trapped between worlds and seeking to guide or warn the living from tragic events, imprinted on the land as an eternal reminder of past suffering. Figures appearing at windows add an unsettling visual dimension to the haunting of Magnolia Estate. Guests have reported seeing silhouettes standing behind glass panes, often motionless yet unmistakably human in form. These apparitions are most frequently observed on the second floor, in rooms long abandoned or rarely used, and they often vanish when approached. Some witnesses describe the figures as transparent, others as solid but shadowy, with vague facial features that convey sorrow or longing. Many interpret these apparitions as restless spirits of past residents, or others believe these figures are echoes of memory, replaying moments from decades past in a haunting cycle that continues to this day. Unexplained sounds echoing through the halls are another common report from visitors. Footsteps on creaking floorboards are often heard when no one else is present. The rustle of fabric is another reported sound. Distant murmurs of voices are also reported. Guests have described the sounds as coming from rooms far removed from their location, sometimes traveling down corridors or along staircases, creating an impression of movement within the empty mansion. Some claim to have heard faint laughter or sobbing, sounds so vivid that they evoke a visceral reaction of fear or unease. Paranormal investigators suggest that these auditory phenomena may be manifestations of the STIA's tragic history, a recording of energy left behind by events that shook the house profoundly. Others believe the sound of the spirits themselves, actively moving through the estate to communicate or to replay moments of unresolved emotion. The history of Magnolia Estate provides insight into the origin of these supernatural experiences. Built in the early 1800s, the estate has been the site of numerous tragedies. Historical accounts document drownings in the STIA's large pond, mysterious disappearances of family members and staff, and deaths under circumstances that were never fully explained. Local legends speak of servants and residents vanishing without a trace, leaving behind rooms untouched and belongings abandoned. These events, coupled with the natural isolation of the property, have contributed to a profound sense of lingering unrest. Over the centuries, stories of ghostly lights, window apparitions, and mysterious sounds have been passed down, solidifying Magnolia Estate's reputation as a place where the past never truly fades. Encounters that engage multiple senses, making the haunting immersive and unforgettable. Catching fleeting glimpses of figures in windows, and hearing footsteps or whispers that seem to follow them through the halls. Many feel sudden drops in temperature, an invisible presence nearby, or a heaviness pressing on their chest, as if the estate itself is aware of their presence. The mansion's expansive architecture, hidden alcoves, and long corridors amplify these sensations, creating an environment where ordinary sounds and shadows take on a chilling significance. Guests often leave with a sense of awe and fear, realizing that the estate is not merely a historic home, but a living repository of memory, grief, and spectral activity. Despite its eerie reputation, Magnolia Estate continues to draw visitors, seeking a connection to the past and the paranormal. Guests are encouraged to explore with respect, acknowledging both the tragedies that occurred and the spirits said to linger. Those who witness ghostly lights, figures in windows, or unexplained sounds often gain a heightened awareness of the estate's layered history and the lingering presence that pervades every corner of the property. Magnolia Estate is more than a mansion. It is a place where memory, loss, and spiritual energy converge. Ghostly lights drifting through gardens, figures appearing at windows, and the echo of unexplained sounds remind visitors that the past is never truly gone. Every hallway, chamber, and garden path carries the weight of those who lived, suffered, and vanished on the estate, ensuring that the haunting presence of Magnolia Estate remains vivid and enduring. For those who enter Magnolia Estate, the experience is both chilling and unforgettable. Lights move mysteriously across the grounds, shadowy figures peer from windows, and sounds resonate through empty halls. The mansion is not overtly threatening, yet it is undeniably alive with the energy of past tragedies. Its architecture, grounds, and long history are imbued with the presence of those lost, preserving a haunting aura that captivates, unsettles, and lingers long after visitors depart. Georgia-esque grand mansions may sparkle by day, but after dark, they become haunted relics of tragedy, curses, and restless spirits. From drowned lovers and lost children to ghostly servants and spectral soldiers, the stories of these 25 haunted mansions remind us that some land holds memories too dark to fade. If you ever walk near these estates at night, listen carefully, watch the